Dave, welcome to another episode of the State of Modern podcast. We're here with Lucas
Hello. How are you?
and myself, Andrew. For anyone joining us exactly at the moment that we go live. Tonight we're doing a kind of different episode from what we've been doing so far, which we've been going year to year, straight from 2012 all the way up to what year did we just hit? 2019. That's the year everything changed.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Yeah. So we're gonna go through just the Modern Horizons set today, and kind of talk about probably share a lot of memories about cards from the set because I think I've cast quite a few of these cards and had a lot of fun with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, like what kind of came of it after it. So.
Yeah. Oh, one thing before we really get started, if we're having audio issues again, please let us know. Did some things to try to fix it, but I'm still not sure if we nailed it down. So throw that up in the chat if our audio's butchered. We're kind of curious because we've been going back and listening to it recorded, but we want to know if it's happening live as well.
Right. Yeah.
So recent news, you got anything?
Nope.
Nope, just nothing.
Nothing. Not that I can think of modern wise, at least. I mean, what are recently we've had a unsanctioned F&M added to our local F&M, which was Canlander, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh, Tony's here.
Hello, Tony.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we kind of changed up the camera angle a little bit today, just so we can stay a little more focused on the cards and what's on the screen here. Hopefully that helps with the audio a little bit too.
Yep. What about you? I mean, did you play last week?
No, I couldn't. I'm gonna be playing Canadian Highlander at F&M this week though.
Yeah. Yep.
The bannings. I mean, it changed format, but Scam is starting to come back. Like, it is still a very viable deck, if not.
What are they doing to kind of compensate now that Fury's gone?
Let's pull up some lists just so we can.
That's a good idea.
Kind of see.
Yeah, see what the recent.
Yawgmoth is definitely doing good.
No shot. It has to.
I think Yawgmoth might be the best deck in the format. There's some burn. Here we go. So right away, it's the exact Orzhov list that people were afraid of and people were talking about.
Well, it's almost. Oh, I would play this. I would definitely play this. They're running Stoneforge Mystics now in a Stoneforge package
with Ephemerate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Mana Tithes. That is hot. Holy crap!
Imagine if you could Ephemerate a Cauldra. Like if they exile a token or something, just.
Yeah, if it was a permanent, that'd be pretty sick.
This is, minus the free magic, this deck reminds me of old Dead Guy Ale builds. It's an old Legacy deck, and it's an pre-modern deck as well, where it's just like white-black, good threats, and cards like Hymnatora, Vindicate, Guess Verdict sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you have a bunch of just like creatures, and I can't even name them off the top of my head, but
yeah,
it used to be a fairly common archetype. You don't see it as much anymore. Maybe this is what they wanted the whole time in Modern.
It kind of backed off to with the Stoneforge package that almost pushes it a little bit back to a mid-range deck, right? Because you don't really play Stoneforge unless you're trying to stick around to actually utilize those equipments.
Get the value out of them. Yeah. The Sword and Fire Ice is kind of surprising. Just these two. No spear. Then so let's.
Oh, Shadow Spear. Yep.
Yeah, Shadow Spear. Sorry, I kind of want to Tron, it's fine. I don't think it was really affected at all.
No, if
Well,
anything, it's positioned much better now in the format, probably.
here's another grief deck, like almost scam deck, but it's running endurance instead
Okay,
of running green
so it's like
instead of
trying to
white.
push mid range too with like Grist, Tarmogoyfs. That's interesting to see those. I mean,
Yeah, I'm almost like this list a little bit more than your average scam list. I don't know why that is.
yeah.
This just seems a little
Hey, it's
more
Rock.
fair. Yeah,
It's Rock.
it's the Rock.
The Rock.
Um, there we go, Yawgmoth.
Yep.
I picked up my first and Grass Soul Cauldron this weekend, and then I remembered that I need like 3 more Orcish Bowmasters and all the delighted halfling, or 2 more delighted halflings, and that kind of
Oh
made me depressed.
yeah. I cracked one out of a pack, the Soul Cauldron.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I know a guy who cracked 3. They thought it was a bulk rare at the time. He's
Wow.
pissed. Now he's like, "Oh, I got $150. Murktide.
Yep.
People suspected that to be a decent player post banning. Mono black. This Tasha's Tidebender.
Still doing well.
Still showing up.
Yep.
Yeah. A Pioneer's pretty shaken up too. Phoenix is still doing good, or is, I'd almost argue, the best deck, but there's other things showing up to compete with it. And the Phoenix deck is mutating around the new cards that people are playing and things. Where they're playing like the lock pick. It was an adventure card where like milled 4 got a instant or sorcery back from your graveyard, or the milled cards. And then on the other side, it was a 1/3 flyer with vigilance. And so they were playing that. That got cut, and now it's like Ledger Shredder and Phoenix are the only 2 threats in the main board.
Wow. Getting really tight.
Going back to Modern, here is another preliminary. A very hard control list here. 4 rings.
Just playing super multicolor control bullshit.
Was it? Oh yeah, Leyline Binding.
4 Solitudes. Oh yeah, this is like, yeah, 2 color. Oh.
It's a very blue white baseline, but yeah, it throws in all the triumphs for the little spice.
Right, for the Leyline Bindings.
Because that card's pretty good. 1/2 mana answer to every single thing in the format.
Breach combo. What this is,
yeah. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. Are we seeing a deck that either plays like the 1 ring or free magic? Yawgmoth doesn't, but then we got Tasha's Tidebender in Crashing Footfalls.
Yep.
Some more mono black.
Burn? Was that burn?
Yeah, burn.
Yep.
I just kind of blow over burn.
Fair enough. Burn's doing what Burn's doing.
Waste not deck. I'm not even gonna give that time of day. Here's the scam deck that we saw.
Oh sure.
Get 4-0 in the next.
They're playing Cling to Dust again. That's kind of cute. I like it.
Yeah, I don't think it lasts long. Just like that Kaya's Guile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just garbage. I want to go through like the whole Modern leagues, but those aren't necessarily as telling. It's like Tron, Yawgmoth, a scam. Those are definitely in the top tier. Then you have like Murktide, Burn, and Rhinos up there too. So you have like these 6 different decks that are kind of defining the format.
You know what's funny is is like creativity just dead now as a deck? Like, is it still compete?
Like, what's holding it back in the format?
Probably the Leyline Bindings.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
So
Um,
you go through all that effort to get the Archon out, and they ley line binding it for 1 mana.
I'm gonna pull up the popular decks in the metagame for modern.
Yawgmoth, top place, 9.7% of the meta. But this is obviously like not accounting for the pseudo scam decks that fall out of this, right? Like the one we just saw with the Cauldra or with the Stoneforge package.
Yeah, yeah. The numbers are gonna be a little, they're definitely wonky right now, just because it's
Yeah.
hard to get data right after things fall apart.
Right.
Yawgmoth, Crashing Footfalls, Mono Green, Amulet. I was expecting to see more Amulet. Hammer Time starting to show up again
Mm-hmm.
in a higher percentage than even Murktide.
Living End. Expected Living End to just top it out. So.
Ooh, Grixis Control. What we got here? A little spice.
Ooh.
I like all these cards.
I do too.
There's almost way too much card advantage in this list, but 4 Memory Deluges, 4 Flame of Anors, 4 Archmage's Charms, 4 Snapcaster Mages. Jesus Christ. What do you do for the first 3 turns?
You cast Sheoldred's Edict, you snap it, you cast it.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
You Flame an Anor as the last card in your hand.
Yeah.
Draw 2 more Sheoldred's Edicts, cast them.
Yeah.
They have no more threats. You win with your Snapcaster Mage.
What do you been playing Canadian Highlander?
Well, I just put together Enchantress.
Yeah.
So I'm like Sarah's, since I can run crop rotation and Sarah Sanctum, trying to get that out as easily as possible, any way I can, and just go off with enchantments and just draw a shitload of my deck and either cast like Emrakul or I'll probably put a turn spell or something in there. It's some way to loop it to either create infinite turns or combo out in some way.
Helix Pinnacle.
Now you're talking. Honestly,
Helix Pinnacle.
Helix Pinnacle is a genuine consideration for the fact that it's just a 1 mana enchantment that you can cast because it'll trigger all the Enchantress effects. I'm running like a dozen Enchantress effects. So
I mean, what are your points?
I haven't really checked, but I'm guessing I'd have to look at the points list. I'm gonna be honest.
Any Moxen?
No.
What the fuck are you playing? You playing Lotus or a combo?
No, I'm just running a lot of 1 mana enchantments, like ramp.
Because crop rotation's no points anymore. I'm pretty certain Seer Sanctum isn't any points.
Yeah, I haven't looked up. I gotta look at the deck list again. I think I'm running like probably Soul Ring and Mana Crypt at least, maybe just for that super spike advantage.
Well, that's 9 points right there.
Okay.
Mana Crypt is 5, I think. It might be 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know Soul Ring's 4.
4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd have to take a look at the deck list again, but and the points list. It's been a while since I looked at the deck list.
Yeah, you gotta find out those points. That's the juice, man.
Yeah. I might play a Black Lotus. Who knows? I gotta get a Calyx for that deck. That's what I really need. Calyx for the enchantments is super strong.
See, I might have one.
Ooh.
What is it a mythic?
It's a multicolor rare from March or the March Aftermath. For anyone listening and not watching, Lucas is like ripping out his binders right now.
I help out my friend, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't been in binders in a while.
I know I haven't been in these binders in a while. I got to F&M before it started. We had a hockey game we were going to, so I did some trading beforehand. I did quite a bit of trading.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun to actually move some cardboard like that. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Andrew, but I do not have one.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was fun. It's still not like as active as it used to be.
Hmm.
Half the people that I would have expected to have a trade binder didn't even have one on them. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
A lot of the time when I've been to F&M, when I do go to F&M, it's a lot of like, I ask, hey, do you have trades on you? And everyone's like, nope, sorry, left them at home, or nope, I don't trade, or nope. And I'm like, it just, it sucks that that aspect of the game is kind of really dispersed quite a bit.
hmm
So,
I and then of course I'm weird where people are like, "Here's my binder," and I'm like, I don't care about $50 or more cards. Like we're probably not gonna make a deal like that.
yeah.
I'm like, where's your fucking 10-cent card? Where's your shit that you like are embarrassed to put in a binder? You think it's a waste of time? That's what I want.
So Brandon separates his stuff. He's got the two binders. He's got the expensive one, and then he's got one with everything like $1 or less.
Hmm
And I'm always like, let me see the dirt binder. Give me the dirt binder.
That's the shit I need, man.
There was like he had like a Thalia Heretic Cathar in there or something. I was like, yes, give me just stuff like that. It was like the really cool rares too. Some
Hmm
of them like genuinely are useful outside of standard and modern stuff like that. So
Yeah, not much action moving around for modern anymore. It's kind of gotten to that. So back in the day, I wrote a few articles, but I never published them. Like one of them was about when I got my termagoyfs,
hmm
and then another one was uh uh about dual lands. And at the time, the dual land was the one I want to talk about. Um, at the time, you'd read like Star City articles and people the trade and Magic Finance articles, and they'd be like, "Oh, you build up a trade binder and then you trade somebody for the dual lands or Force of Wills." It was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, especially within our community, is like nobody was trading dual lands for standard cards or even almost modern staples at the time. Like that was just unheard of. And it was more or less like the only way to really do it in Cedar Rapids was you build up all of those cards and you pretty much buy list or you trade it into the store and you get dual lands that way. That was like the way to get them.
yeah,
Um, and it kind of feels like that with almost some of the higher like high end magic cards. You have like or it's different, but it's you have these people who just crack ungodly amounts of packs and they're
Mhm.
going for this like the fucking serialized shit and that's the only thing that gets their juices flowing. So if you're over here trying to trade $5 cards up to 2-1 rings, it's not even worth their fucking time. So you have like all those higher cards like locked away into a position where like you have to be trading the hottest of the hot in order to even access like that amount, or you're going and you're getting them from the card store now.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like you got these big dollar bills and then just everything else basically. Um, I feel like a lot of some rares or mythics almost feel like they are printed at a higher scarcity. Like there's just less of them. It seems like there's less of them. There's just an air of less of them. Like for example, like the biggest one I can think of is just Ragavan. Um, I don't know about you, but I've cracked a lot of MH2 packs, and I've never seen a Ragavan out of a pack
Well,
that I've cracked out of my own hands.
I mean, this gets into going into our. I guess we're dipping into our trade podcast that it doesn't exist yet, but in Modern Horizons 2,
Yeah,
um, there are at least uncommons that are rarer than other uncommons.
right.
You have different positions of uncommons.
Yep.
Um, that is, I believe, also true with, or it is true with some mythic rares and then some rares. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have rarities within rarities in
Mm-hmm.
Modern Horizons 2. Period. End of story. And that comes from the slots in collector boosters, like like original Innistrad, you had common, uncommon, rare, and mythic rare.
Right.
The mythic rare showed up one on each sheet, and the rare showed up twice on each sheet of the rare sheet. And so those rarities were locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have collector boosters that have a slot for a full art, a slot for old retro art, a slot for a normal rare, a slot for a hollow, or a slot for maybe a
Etched or something.
something,
Yeah.
yeah. And if that, let's say there's a mythic rare that has a regular version, a full art version, a etched, and a retro, it is available in all of those slots. Whereas you have Regavon that has a full art and a normal version. So it's only available in like two of those slots.
Right.
And so you're statistically less likely to open it just based off of those slots.
Yeah.
I mean, collector boosters isn't 100% of the market, but I don't know what, maybe let's say it's 20% of the, at least 20% of the card flow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good chunk. And then you add in set boosters, which are also seeded. They're not really random. Which that's kind of what we're going to, is probably that algorithm for seed. Well, no, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not. Uh, Part of the reason I realized this was going on was with Dragon Rage channelers.
Mm-hmm.
I I think I helped open up 2 cases of MH2 set boosters. I helped the store open theirs, and I helped Matt open his case. And every single Dragon Rage channeler that was non-foil, there was a Fast and the Furious card. It's half fast, half furious.
Yep.
In front of it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wait, what the fuck is going on? This is not random. It's
Right.
every single one. Every single one.
Yeah.
And then you have uncommons, like Prismatic Ending is less rare than Dragon Rage Channeler because it also had retro frame, which also has a etched frame and things like that. So that's where you get the rarities within rarities. Are they seeding certain cards, like intentionally kind of doing that? I don't know. I don't think they have rarities upon rarities, and then they're also trying to twist the algorithm.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I feel like they're already getting what they want at this point with serialized cards, where they're just like, everyone is grabbing at the product as fast as they can get it because you can only crack so many of these things. Like there's a limited amount of them in existence.
Yeah.
All for that fancy little number on the little corner on there.
So when's that gonna die out? It's like they just started doing it. Seems like maybe 2 years ago, and it's already. I'm kind of like, are you really still chasing that? That's the high you're still chasing. I don't get it. It's so rare that it's just not really even an option. Like really, like there's not enough in the market for it to be viable. I have to go into almost black markets to get access to them.
The specific ones, definitely. I mean, but if you're looking for just like, you want to get a serialized card, period. No bars attached. You don't care what it is, what number, anything like that. You can find them in Cedar Rapids. Like I've seen people with them.
That's true.
There was a guy who just sat down across from me playing EDH, and he just dropped the serialized Elish Norn in front of me, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty sweet. I think it was like a actually good number too.
The March one, the
7 drop. Yeah, the 4/7 one. Yeah.
Wait, that's a 5 drop. The Panharmonicon one.
No.
The -2 +2. Okay.
Yeah, the original Elish Norn Grand Set.
Still pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, but like that one's serialized is probably $500.
I have no concept of that market anymore.
Well, they have like the ones from the Martian machine that are ridiculous are the what were they? The new Predators, but they were in alternate arts. So it was the flip ones.
I'm glazing over, dude.
Do you remember the ones that flip into sagas.
Yes.
They made alternate arts of those, but they're only serialized.
I didn't even know that.
Dude, they are gorgeous. Check them out.
No, please, God,
Yes,
don't make
just go to March of the Machines.
How do I look this shit up? That's another thing.
TCG March of the Machines.
Oh my God, I really don't think it's just gonna pop up.
That's
another. That's a huge aspect that is like. All right, March of the Machines.
There's so much shit. Yeah.
Okay,
right there.
There you go.
Yep.
Holy shit. Jinka taxes. There are 4 on TCG Player of the 500 possible in existence.
Yep. Yeah, so they did this treatment for all 5 of the Predators.
I'm sorry, correction. There are 5 of the 500. 1% is on TCG Player right now.
That I think this instance right here is the first time that they do it where the art is exclusive to the serialization.
Dude, that's fucking badass.
That's a really pretty token.
They're probably in Japanese.
Yeah.
Market. Damn, dude. They treat the Japanese players so much better. Like the 30th anniversary. Look at the freaking monk token.
Wow.
Yeah, we get scammed, dude. Scammed. So that oh, okay, Urbrask, Shieldred.
Yeah, they don't have the image, I guess. Whatever.
Elishnorn. Damn, there's a lot. There's more than I expected. But a lot of these cards, up until recently, nobody even posted them on TCG Player. I guess you could probably find them on eBay, but it was like Discords and Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace is a big one. They actually made a separate Facebook Marketplace now for specifically serialized. They call it serialized cards and other nonsense. At this point, like because I remember when the serialized stuff started coming out, I was looking on some of the Facebook Marketplace ones, and I think it was the high end cards. They started getting the serialized cards coming through, and everyone's like, just get this shit out of here. And they just completely split it off and moved serialized cards over to a different Facebook Marketplace group. So, but yeah, I mean, they sell like hotcakes on Facebook. Some of them.
I don't want to do business on that through Facebook.
Yeah, it is kind of sketchy sometimes.
Yeah,
I was pretty close to getting ripped off a couple times when I had stuff coming to me.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who are in certain Discords where it's just like almost you can pretty much trust everybody in the Discord. It's like an invite only Discord, and there's cards are flying and money's flying, and that I don't really have a problem. But I usually buy through my friend who has a reputation in it.
Yeah.
But it's still sketch. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
And that's, I mean, that kind of reminds me of that's how I've acquired a lot of reserve list cards. I feel like is
through Facebook Marketplace.
Or? No, through person to person interaction. It's usually like, hey, I know this guy. Okay, I trust you. All right, I know that this is pretty much like I'm almost guaranteed that this is a legit card.
Pretty sure almost every single one of my dual lands have come from stores. Almost.
Yeah.
I recently got some Tundras that didn't, but other than that, just about every single one.
I think.
Oh no, my original volcanics I bought from somebody.
Mine were all from friends or just people by association. Because it was got quite a few of them from Dev. And then but I did get one on Facebook Marketplace. It was an Underground Sea. That experience, not happy with that buying experience, by the way. Because we bought it and then the guy went AWOL for like a week, and then he's like, "Oh, I was away doing this. I'll ship them tomorrow." And I'm like, "Dude, why did you not like just do this before you did whatever you needed to do. Like you could have got it done right away.
Yeah, not as many
I
people
was
are as
pissed.
responsible
Yeah.
as you are, Andrew.
I know, but like when someone's expecting you to have this in a timely manner, you know.
When you hand them over a few hundred or like $500 or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean you expect a certain amount of service.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, but got the duel in the end. But
Yeah, so let's hit back. Let's go back to Modern Horizons or 1.
yeah. After talking about serialized cards, list
Oh,
cards,
I'm
all that
done.
nonsense.
Okay. A lot of sets.
Up.
Thank you.
There we go.
First but foremost, I think this might be the first time they bring back retro frame, or I think Times Power Remaster happened right before it.
Yep. Times Power Remastered was the first time they brought back old. I know because I bought some boxes of it to hold because I was like, this is the first time they're bringing back the old border sets. This set's always going to be a hit.
It's not showing. Well, Dominaria is.
It's not. They're not in order on the right side for some reason.
Yeah. Okay. But I think you're right. Old border, big selling point. It was like the serialized of the time.
Well, these old borders came later in what was it, the MH2 collector boxes?
This is MH1.
No. The retro frames specifically. The retro frames did not come out in this set originally.
Oh, you're right. Oh,
Yeah.
I totally forgot. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you are right. They had like a weird ancillary slot that those came in. Okay.
Yeah. So these were like applied on the MH2 set for quite a while in the TCG page, and then they moved them over to MH1. But the original MH1 booster boxes did not have any retro frames in them whatsoever. It was
edged,
because I remember because the foils for those were ungodly expensive.
Ren and 6
foils were $450.
Yeah, they're crazy.
It was ridiculous. I cracked a Force of Will foil, and that was the most expensive card I've ever cracked out of pack before.
What was it at the time?
150 something.
Force of Negation.
Force of Negation.
Oh, yep. Yeah. Okay, so at this time, the rarity thing was the normal, what we expected.
Normal foil.
Normal rares, normal mythics, normal XYZ.
Yeah. We were still in this period of normalcy where we hadn't like the collector booster shit hadn't really sunk in. It hadn't hit yet.
Mm-hmm. It didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
Time Spiral hasn't happened yet.
Because no, Time Spiral has already happened. But
I don't think
Throne of Throne of Eldraine didn't come out until right after this. Because we can check like the 2019 last year's document has it in order.
All right.
Oh, we're back in March of the Machines.
I'm losing my mind. Ultimate Masters.
That was a good set too.
So first and foremost, you get the Force of X cycle.
Yeah.
Force of Negation, Force of Vigor, Force of Virtue, Force of
Rage,
and
Force of Despair.
Damn, impressive. Some of them are way better than others.
What the fuck were they even thinking when they made the red one?
I don't know.
The red one is like literally unplayable.
They die at the end of turn.
So they die at the end of turn. They gain, I think, either trample or haste or something like that.
Probably spark elementals.
They're 3/1s, and you have to cast it for 3 mana.
Or on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, for free. So like cool. I get my 6/2 blocker for one turn. Is that what the like it was just supposed to chunk a something? Like
I think you play at the end of their turn, and then on your turn you swing for lethal.
oh, I guess since it.
I guess.
Wait a second.
Which is a card that is never seen play ever.
Wait a second. Can we pull that? Find that and pull it up. Might have to search it because it's probably like.
Let's go to the cheapest card.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Force of.
Rage.
Rage. Yeah.
All right. If it is, it's okay. 1 color, 2 red, instant. If it is not your turn, you may exile a red card from your hand rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Create 2/3/1 red elemental creature tokens with trample and haste. Sacrifice those tokens at the beginning of your next upkeep.
This card is trash.
Okay.
This card is terrible. What the fuck?
How is this? Why? You have force negation and you have this. Were they really like? You got to have the bad cards in order to see what a good card looks like. Is that why we have this card?
We just made like this lopsided force.
Okay. You're working at WotC.
Mm-hmm.
You need to design a red force of at rage.
Jeez.
Okay. What does it do? So blue counters. White is a glorious anthem that pumps all of your creatures +1/+1. Green is a double naturalize, and then
the
black is a destroy creatures that enter. That one's pretty lackluster too. That one's not good.
Yeah.
You very quote me on that one, Cody.
I like
that
it.
That one sucks.
I like that one, and the art for it is gorgeous. But
yeah, the Seth McKenna art is fucking awesome.
Oh yeah. I'd get rid of the beginning of the next upkeep text and make them like 2/1s maybe. It's like 4 damage for free or 4 damage for 3 mana. Seems fine.
The 4, yeah, that sounds pretty good. It makes it a somewhat conditional fireball or firebolt. Fire blast?
Yeah.
So it mimics fire blast.
Like Burn would probably play this.
It would at least consider it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. If it was like end step instead of upkeep.
4 mana, 2 damage, or 0 mana, 4 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Your average rate is 2 damage per card, plus their creatures, which makes the damage more easily interacted with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty fair, and it might get played.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could almost push it to a 3/1 and a 2/1.
Yeah, and then you get some like wild zoo decks that are just like dumping their whole hand and then casting this on their opponent's end step and cracking in for lethal or something.
Yeah, I think that's viable. I don't know. At the beginning of your next upkeep, literally just why do you even have that first part of the spell? What mono red?
Why do they need haste?
What red deck is? If you're casting it
for 3,
you're casting it for 3, 6. It's a fucking fireball. It's not getting.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. They literally printed a fireball skelemental, whatever it is, that when it hits them, they discard 2 cards.
Yeah.
For
in the set too.
I think it's this one.
Yeah.
It's not the next one. We need 2 of that effect. I don't know. I was trying to prompt you to come up with a different, like a red card that did something that wasn't like fucking free lightning bolt or, well, 2 mana lightning bolt that you can pitch a card to deal, or pitch a card for free.
I mean, it seems pretty cool. I don't know. I'd be really curious.
It's not a necessary card though. It's like It's not.
I think you would have to leave it at 3 if you made it a 3-mana bolt.
You get 6 damage for 3 mana on this guy.
So what? You're getting 3 damage at any target.
Yeah.
For 2 cards.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
For 0 mana. That's. I mean, if
but
it's
at
like
the rate,
last 2 cards
at
in
the
your hand,
rate, that's 2 damage per card.
Mm-hmm.
That's less than average rate. Or that's like average rate for burn. That's not crazy.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking giving them another one in addition to.
I mean, the upside of being able to just cast it in general is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would play it over Lightning Helix, you'd play it over Skullcrack, you play it over any of those cards.
Yep.
Not Boros Charm.
No, because the efficiency with Boros Charm is just too good.
Yeah, you keep that. Yeah, you keep that. Yeah. What else is in red that like? There's no typal archetypes in here.
You can maybe do something with you almost couldn't do. I was thinking like a pumping spell, but that's, I don't know. I feel like pumping always verges between kind of the red-green mix, where the forces almost seem like they're exclusive to their color.
Red cards don't want to be played on your opponent's turn.
Yeah,
that's where the downfall of the red force cycle comes.
Anyway,
creates an enchantment that is sulfuric vortex. I don't know. I mean, why does it have to be an instant? It could be an enchantment with flash. It could be a permanent with flash. That
the white one's an enchantment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. What the fuck am I talking about? Okay. So that's enough of the one of the worst cards in the whole set. I clicked through some force negation. We talked a little bit about it. It's almost a sweet spot.
I think that this card was both had benefits and detriments to the format. Obviously pushed a bunch of cards out. Most upset that it kind of pushed out a lot of the old counterspell stuff like Cryptic Command.
Yes.
Like, this is way more efficient. You know, that's what you're usually using your Cryptics for, is to stop something impactful, where you're just holding your mana for as long as you can stand it. This card is awesome in just the way that you almost have to utilize it to counter your opponent's stuff, or you can save it as a backup counter spell. But I think that the balance of the way they did the forces of having them be able to be only played on your opponent's turn, definitely adds a good layer of interaction that prevents them from being too strong for the format.
I think when they sat down and they're deciding that they're going to do this set, they're like, okay, what are iconic cards in Legacy? What can we do? And Force of Will was right in the forefront. And when they decided to make this card, they were like, we have to get this right. This is going to be one of the most important cards of the set. If we make this too degenerate, it's going to ruin. It could ruin Modern, which they might have gone with this set and gone, we fucking nailed it. We did a pretty good job. At the height, the best card, Force of Negation / Force of Vigor, they aren't game breaking. They're fair. They're pretty fair. They're good. They're good level. And they're like, well, maybe we can tweak it a little bit more. And then they make evoke creatures and fuck everything up.
Yeah.
They don't have these conditions of only on your opponent's turn. They don't have the
Yeah.
They're not really answering. They're answering creatures
it's creating interaction versus allowing you to get ahead on your own game plan. I mean, almost every force is designed that way, actually, kind of in a way. Hang on, now that I think about it. So blue counters something of your opponent's. Force Vigor destroys something of your opponent's. The white force pumps your creatures, I guess.
That's not, yeah.
Yeah.
The
But the black one, that one's destroy creatures on the turn they play them.
In the red version, the only way you're using it is
Is
for blocking.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's what they tried to do, and they, especially with the force of negation and force of vigor. Well, force of vigor less so, but like force of negation, really, they nailed it on that. Not making a force that was too strong to overpower the format, but also came out as a powerful standing card and like
I
created
kind
a
of
good balance.
I kind of wish Force of Vigor was 3 mana. So drop, so it'd be 1 green green. Instant destroy target with the same condition, destroy target instant or
Just a
artifact
singular instead of
singular.
two.
Because if you're
Yeah.
doing it for free, it's still a 2 for 2.
Yeah.
And it's way too big of a tempo swing at that point.
Right.
Feels game breaking.
Oh yeah, especially since it doesn't have where like Force of Despair, your opponent has to put those creatures into play on the same turn. So if they put like 2 or more creatures, you're feeling great with it, right? But most of the time you'd only catch 1 creature with that, where everything else is catching probably 1 thing. Force Vigor's catching 2, and it doesn't have any more conditions besides them just existing. So,
but I've seen Force of Vigor be used to defend people's degenerate decks more than Force of Negation, I think, because it's like dredge and graveyard based synergies or combo decks, so they're gonna Force of Vigor your thing.
Yep.
And or if you you're like you have 2 rest in peace. In back in the day, it used to be like you had 2 rest in peace, you're like, good fucking luck, I've won this game, I played the graveyard hate lottery, I won. But now it's like, shit, okay, do I hold this second rest in peace? It makes this game within the game, but when that's getting played out, the dredge player always fucking wins in that game.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I don't really like that.
It did. I feel like it kind of stunted a lot of the older artifact synergy decks that were a lot more focused on kind of dumping your hand and just getting into the game really quickly. Because they just can't afford to do that anymore when they're getting 2 for 1 with like Force of Vigor.
2 for 2.
Yeah. 2 for 2.
Or even, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the upside is a 2 for 1. Yeah. Yeah, that one I think could have been tuned a little better. Is it the worst thing that's ever existed? No. Doesn't help that Hogaak's in this set. The graveyard decks do take complete control.
Oh yeah.
Off the back of that,
I'm sure they ran Force of Vigor's main board just to deal with like the Chalice of the Voids or Leyline of the Voids and stuff like that, where you're just like, shit, I'll just pitch one of my shitty creatures to pop both your graveyard removal. What are you gonna do about it now? Cast my Hogaak, go to combat.
Like the Despore shamans make more sense with those.
Yeah. Yeah, actually. Yep.
Prismatic Vista. That's just kind of a fun include.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think especially with like the Ice Fang Coatl synergy.
Oh yeah.
That was really, really a good play on their part. Like super well designed with the Ice Fang Coatl and the way they did basics and snow basics. They were really focused on kind of getting back into a basic synergy rather than duels, focusing on duels and stuff like that, which I would almost like it if they kind of they put more effort into that, where they allow more synergies with like having basic lands, or there is more emphasis on having closer to monocolor decks to kind of balance out against the multicolor stuff we have now.
Yeah. This set did push towards play more basics a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think this could be legal in Pioneer minus the whole like loading screen bullshit? Like, I don't think Fable Passage is good enough. Do you think this is? Would be fair.
This is so close to Fable Passage. Like they're damn near comparable, like in terms of what they do. This is just a straight fetch versus
Comes
Fable
into
Passage
play
is
tap.
potentially a fetch.
Yeah.
So
in the life. I think they're not going to, but I think that it'd be a decent inclusion in Pioneer.
Yeah.
The slivers, there's a sliver theme. nothing broke through.
Hmm.
It was a nostalgia thing.
It's super cool. Like I've seen like some nasty stuff where people have gone first sliver and then they dumped like a 3-drop sliver into a 2-drop sliver into a 1-drop sliver into a, or just cascaded all the way down. In But yeah, it didn't do anything
No.
modern at all.
Yeah, all the value is completely tied up in EDH.
Yeah,
Ranger Captain of Eos. We talked a lot about it last week.
love this card.
Super well designed
Oh yeah,
card.
oh yeah. Has some really good shining moments in several different decks. One of the ones we'll see eventually coming up is the Heliod Company deck when Theros comes out. That was huge. The Spike Feeder Heliod Company deck.
Getting the walking bliss off of this bad boy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I kind of think they learned some lessons off of this card going into Urza Saga.
Mm-hmm.
When they're designing Urza Saga, I bet this influenced the so Urza Saga, and it's a saga. First, it gets an ability to make mana. Second, it gets an ability to make dudes, and then third, it sacrifices itself. It's a land to go get an artifact with converted mana cost. It has to have exactly a 0 as the converted mana cost, or a 1 colorless.
Yep.
Whereas this can get 1 or less.
Yep.
And therefore, you can get Walking Ballista and blow them out.
Yep. Yeah, they kind of started to make that switch where they realized, or like they did the mana value versus, or converted mana cost versus mana value or stuff, something like that.
Yeah, that was common. It's the same thing, but
they just changed up, some strict rulings on wording and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this card is awesome. I've used it a lot. Like the disruption too on the back end, being able to sacrifice it is super beneficial. And a lot of times, it'll even chunk a removal spell where you're like, your opponent goes to bolt it or whatever, you just sack it in response, and then they can't do whatever else they wanted to do for the rest of their turn.
Yeah.
So
the fact that it's a 2-for-1 and you're usually tutoring up the thing you truly want, the sacrifice ability is less of a hit to your card advantage, your card for card, and it can give you that a free 1-turn tempo swing.
Especially, and they really enabled the synergy with this card in this set specifically because of Unearth, because Unearth is in this too. So you can just do some nasty crap with like Ranger Captain for Giver of Ruins, sack it, Unearth, go get another thing. Great card, fantastic.
Yeah. Power and toughness were right. Mana cost was just right. Yeah, I think if they look back at it, like WotC look back at this card, I don't think they would really even change a single thing about it. I don't think I would. One second. Let me read the sacrifice Ranger Captain of Eos. Your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn.
Uses it quite a few times too, for just like a cautionary thing ahead of time. Or like I've got a combo on board or something like that. I'm just like, I'll keep sack Ranger Captain right away. And my opponent's like, yep, you got it. I mean,
I can't storm off this turn, even though storm's not a thing.
Yeah.
Biggie and a baddie.
Renin 6.
The best 2-mana planeswalker ever.
Yeah. Super efficient. Like I don't think it even took a moment for everyone to catch on to like how amazing Renin 6 is as a planeswalker.
The foil version was like $500.
Yeah,
or close to it.
This is, I think at one point it hit almost $100, like flat, before it got reprinted, especially. Yeah.
You can't see of all time.
No, you are seeing all time there, I think.
No, that's 1 year.
Oh. Huh. Goldfish shows all the time. So the uptick of being able to get back a land, first and foremost, Legacy, just destroyed, ripped apart Legacy, being able to just go wasteland, get back, wasteland, get back, wasteland, over and over and over again.
I don't. I wasn't playing a lot of Legacy at the time.
Yeah,
Strangely enough, it was um there were more basics going around though at the same time because Astro's Arkham Lab.
true.
So I'm like,
Yeah,
true, you can loop people out. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I didn't get that one as much. I still to this day,
Yeah,
I guess I need to have it done to me more.
yeah,
I did get it done to me in Canadian Highlander recently, but
yeah. But the I guess not only that, but the synergies with fetches too, just really big enablers.
yeah, you always are hitting your mana.
Oh yeah, yep. So this has been like very commonly used in decks that are just trying to stay ahead on card advantage no matter what. Or now more commonly with Omnath, they're focused on a land-based strategy where they're trying to build out their land base best they can and just go off with the fetch loop with Ren and Six, get all their shocks, all their triumphs.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's funny. Like like Liliana of the Veil, that discard. A lot of people discard almost their lands first, and it's when you're discarding cards, your lands almost aren't don't feel as valuable,
yeah,
and you also like I could see a newer player playing Ren and Six and being like, it doesn't feel like card advantage because it's a land. Like it doesn't count as card advantage in their head.
oh yeah,
Where it's just like, no, you're getting a free fucking card every single turn this is on the field.
mm-hmm.
Um, the -1. So this set was kind of one of the first chinks in the armor for like X1s, like Dark Confidant. Lava Dart was the other card that
Mm-hmm.
I played a lot of because I love the card.
Yeah,
But this one being a staple of the format and then having that tacked on first hit.
right.
Oh, nice.
Woo!
Okay.
Good audio.
One of Tony's suggestions paid off.
What was that?
I plugged it in the top. I'm not plugging into the motherboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe
need
that
to
has
look
something to
at
do
them,
with it.
but I don't know what the fuck's going on there.
Huh.
I didn't investigate it too much, but I might be able to fix it even further.
Yeah.
And then the -7, that all cool. Like
Most of the time you win the game with it. Like
Mhm.
right now specifically, it's being used to do time warp loops, right? Where people are casting
What?
time warp
Yeah.
and um, but
The Omnat decks are gone.
oh, true. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen really a single one since the banning of Fury.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, kind of
Kind of stupid.
meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this ult is really strong. Getting it off, like it's very hard to lose once you get it off.
Yeah. There are more answers to this card. Prismatic Ending is a big one. You're trading mana for mana, not card for card in most situations.
Mm-hmm.
And then the domain one. Jeez, I always forget it.
Leyline binding.
Leyline Binding.
Yep.
Whereas you almost only could deal combat damage to it or bolt hit, and it was just such a bad rate that I don't know how this card didn't get played more back then when there wasn't the enchantment base removal.
I think it's really funny that they designed this card around Bolt specifically too. They put it on 3 loyalty with a +1 uptick.
Absolutely.
So yeah, which I don't know. It's just kind of interesting that they did that. So.
Yeah, this card could have destroyed the format.
Yeah,
there's a world where that was extremely problematic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The swords, on the other hand, I mean, they're
all right. They've been doing a lot better. Like price wise, I say most of this price stuff is probably due to like a lot of the poison stuff being reintroduced, a lot of counter synergy.
Oh, yeah, it's just a sword, and people go crazy in EDH.
White
The
blue,
swords never
white blue
made it
too.
and never did anything in modern.
This protects against solitude, so
True, but it's sort of Fire and Ice is the card that gets played.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever really seen this card get played
I played it a
in Modern.
couple times. I can't remember what decks though. It's been a really long time. Just niche cases here and there. But anyway,
The swords have
as a
never
sword.
been. People thought those were gonna be like an important part of Modern, and they never really have. I played sword um in a few like Stoneforge based decks, and then Hammer Time, and I've
Mhm.
always been disappointed that I've had that sword in my deck.
Yeah.
Never been happy about it.
Yeah.
Never won the game off of it. Never anything worthwhile. I think now if they were printed, it's hard to say, but like 3 and then equip cost of 1, or even 2 and 2 is not that good.
I mean, the protection from colors though, especially I've always liked them. I mean, I've played decks that utilize them, but yeah, they don't really compete as well anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, the baseline, the +2/+2 gets almost all the creatures away from Bolt, which was already a thing in Modern.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're automatically less inclined to play red protection from red ones,
Mm-hmm.
and like even now with white, they go to equip it. You just solitude or you leyline binding them. It
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so Modern Horizons 3 make swords great again. Like
do a new cycle at a different CMC with different effects.
No, like a card that enables them for Hammer Time. Make a like I don't know what the fuck would it be.
So would it either be maybe something that specifically targets 3 or less artifact equipments?
So in the Dragon Ball Z card game that I used to play, the
Yeah.
original score game,
Yeah.
there were Trunks sword effects, Gohan sword, because they both had these swords.
Mm-hmm.
But there were also these drill cards, like almost like an enchantment or an artifact that had a static ability that gave the sword cards like really good effects. So made them unblockable, gave them plus damage and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Literally take that mechanic, 4 swords, and pull it in. So it's like an almost like a Sigarda's aid that says cards that have sword in the title that are equipments
Oh yeah.
cost 1 to cast and 0 to equip.
Well, what if it was like, what if yeah?
It just enables them completely, and then you'd have all of the swords just fucking skyrocket in price.
If it was modern based though, couldn't you just do something that like made equipments with CMC 3 or less free or something like that? Like imagine, or you made them cost like
We already have that.
some cost reduction. Well, not. What do you mean?
The Pure Steel Paladin, they cost 0.
Oh no, I'm talking about to like put them into play somehow. To get them into play for a reduced cost somehow.
It's the equipment though that Oh, go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
well,
ahead.
so you only target the CMC of 3 or less or something like that for equipment specifically, because I can't think of a better equipment in that category that like you're putting into play for free without equipping automatically.
Do you know what I'm screaming hammer in my head. Hammer,
That's why.
hammer,
That's
hammer.
why I'm not thinking about hammer, because if you had a way to cast these for free and just paid the equip cost, I feel like that would be probably make them a little bit better to be more useful in that sort of scenario. Because like I'm just thinking of ways that you can get these into play, like and actually utilize them more efficiently would be the only way I could think of making it more powerful.
You can always like kind of argue, like you can cheat them into play with Stoneforge. Like
yeah, true.
Okay, you you get a Stoneforge.
That one's always been a good one, like the one reduced by 1 mana at least.
Another card that came close is there's a 1-drop red creature. It was like somebody's world championship card
Mhm.
that makes card effects cost less to target it. And I was kind of thinking like that would something like that.
Oh,
I like the concept of like cards with sword in the title.
yeah.
Like it's nostalgic to me personally, but it's like a mechanic that I don't I can't recall a time where they've really used that.
Like a naming mechanic.
A naming mechanic that isn't just the card name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, there's stuff like Pithing Needle effects,
Hmm.
but those, you have to choose a card name,
Hmm.
and that's like, but there's none that specifically refer to a category of cards where we've created like this zeitgeist of sort of X and Y or fetches or shocks or.
They would, I guess, what they would do is they'd make it artifact slash equipment slash sword. They'd give it like a subtype at this point. That's more their style.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it breaks any. Well, there might be some interesting rules
I
that
think
like nobody ever would even consider, but
I think it would be hilarious if they did like an unset card though that was like sword. It literally just called Sword of X and Y, and it just did some stupid effect that interacted really well with these.
it,
So
yeah, I
because we have all 10 of them now.
yeah,
So
and none of them get played.
nope.
One of them's like $5, which is hurts to see. Um, yeah, that one's I think all EDH. It says proliferate and it can happen consistently. So
It's the new poison counter stuff.
mhm.
So
All right, here's a real card.
yep, Urza. This used to be the second most expensive card in the set.
To force of vigor.
No,
Or
1 in 6.
Force of negation and Ren in
This was
6.
way
Yeah.
more expensive than Force of Negation at first.
Mm.
Force of Negation was $30 for the longest time, and then it shot up to like 60 later on when some more stuff released. I can't remember later, but Urza was the second most expensive card in the set because Theros comes out right after this, and the Urza food decks get super enabled and turbo turned on, so everyone's playing Urza and Oko and shit.
All right. Right away. Do you feel like this is a fair and balanced Magic card?
Yes, I would say yes, honestly. I mean, it doesn't it's pretty strong. I would say that it's up there in terms of power level, but in terms like it's got a CMC of 4. What it by itself in a vacuum, what does it produce? It makes another 1/1. It's a 1/4 for 4 that makes a 1/1 that can tap for blue
That
mana.
you get the mana back.
Yeah. So it's effectively 3 mana for a tapped 1/1 for a 1/4.
And a card advantage engine. Yeah.
Right. And you have a potential free card event engine.
But also on the upside, it's an infinite combo enabler.
Yep.
It's a part of a infinite combo. Like just you can read it. And
The
tell that.
the effect of like making your artifacts into Mox then though,
Mhm.
like that's where the power scale varies, I feel like. Because whatever deck you build it around is gonna dramatically support that enabled mana.
So a while back we made a EDH ban list for our card store, and most combos require like 3 pieces. You have like something that produces mana, something to untap it or enable it to go infinite, and then you need a mana sink. You need something to do with that mana. This does 2 of the halves. So that's very dangerous on face value.
Oh yeah.
The beat stick ability. I want to jump back real quick. Flavor wise, I fucking love this card. I think they nailed it. They did so many throwbacks right in this card of Urza. He's blue. He's making Karnstruck tokens. He's got a pseudo untap your lands kind of ability that happened back in Urza Saga,
Yeah.
and then uh a Mind's Desire kind of effect that was a degenerate card, and they shoved like so many, they fixed like so many degenerate cards and like shoved it into this one card.
Yeah. Yeah.
It nailed this character pretty good. I I love just the flavor and the context of this card.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just looking at it, it is one of my favorite Magic cards ever printed.
Yeah, this is a really pretty card. Like the art especially is really awesome too. Um yeah, I'm thinking about it in the context of like EDH and stuff like that. I can understand why it's always going to be banned in that in EDH format, because it is a double-sided combo enabler on its front side. Like all you need is Paradox Engine and then all the 0 drops and 1 drops you could ever want.
Oh yeah, not
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Because you're playing it with more artifacts. This isn't the only card that has artifact production in it.
Yeah.
I love Incanlander. It's one of my favorite top decks. The card fucking rules. For Modern though, it is
Definitely had its fun. when it
still
came out.
legal, which is kind of weird to think about.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about all the cards that really enable it right now, like what could really, like, I guess you could kind of get the Sword Thopter combo is one. It kind of found a place for a little bit in Asmodex.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The real damage it did was when Mox Opal and Astrum Arkham Lab were illegal, and then so next episode we'll see this guy really shine.
Yeah.
Once they neuter, take its 2 balls away, and he just kind of exists now.
Yeah.
In a bunch of tier 4 decks.
Mm-hmm.
He will come again.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a retro foil frame of him. I'm just like holding on to it. I love it. It's really pretty. So
how much are those? I kind of really
$15.
Want
Not very expensive.
Shit, dude. Okay, those used to be 40 strong. Yawgmoth, master of the Modern format right now.
Mm-hmm.
Always been waiting to shine.
Yeah, you think even when this card came out, people were like kind of trying to find ways to break it. It actually, the +1, the Undying stuff broke out pretty quick. It didn't take very long for that to kind of come around.
I don't believe so, but it was always like he was a number 2 to Urza.
Yeah,
and it's weird that that's not true anymore.
It didn't really get a lot of play early on, I don't think. But like,
no,
once MH2 kind of rolled around, then it started to get some more with like Ignoble Hierarch. Getting the black and green mana out of that was pretty important. I feel like
there were way better things to be doing with Urza.
Yeah.
And it was a deck full of fluff and bullshit cards that didn't really do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to have this one piece in order to go off and combo off. And it just didn't do much.
I loved this card as a one-of in Devoted Druid for a little bit. This is so fucking funny. I just pay the life, sack a Kitchen Finks, and just loop and draw a card for nothing because of the Viziers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
now you're on top of it. Well, you go infinite, don't you? Sacrifice another creature. Okay, so no, not quite. You need 2 Undying creatures to go infinite.
If I got Kitchen Finks and Vizier.
Yeah.
I can go infinite. Sack another creature. Put 1 counter up 1 target creature and draw a card.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the counter would just disperse.
But you're not gaining the life off of Kitchen Finks. Because it's not entering the battlefield. You're just paying a life, getting a card. Paying a life, getting a card. Paying a life, getting a card.
No, I'm sacking the Kitchen
Oh,
Finks.
god damn it. I'm retarded. Okay, never mind. Scratch that. Andrew's right. I'm dumb.
I gain infinite life and I draw my deck.
Yawgmoth. He's fragile. His existence in the Modern format, I don't know how he got to be the best deck in
There's
modern, but
yeah.
this is fucking weird.
You have to do a lot to kind of get that to go off.
Hmm.
The protections from humans, that was very crucial, especially in the early days. Like everyone would just run a Yawgmoth in the sideboard because they're like, screw it, I'll slam a Yawgmoth. What are they gonna do?
That has got me pretty good a few times,
Mm-hmm.
but well designed card,
Mm-hmm.
very interesting. Didn't get a lot of attention because of Urza.
Mm-hmm.
Um, very flavorful.
Yeah,
Almost, if not more flavorful than Urza.
yeah.
It's not as throwbacky of a card though. These effects seem very unique. Like proliferate is a newer mechanic, so it doesn't throw back to anything.
Well, it kind of gives me Phyrexian vibes a little bit.
Absolutely.
Like that was typically the tie, right? It was the
Mhm.
-1/-1 counters and proliferate. And then the fact that like he's just doing all these negative effects kind of to yourself, like you're eating away at yourself.
Mhm.
That's I love it. I like it too. The flavor is just very good.
The
Here.
art's pretty baller too.
Oh yeah.
It's like the conspiracy kind of art. I like that.
Mhm.
The character, like spotlight arts like that in their like laboratory or their home base. I love that shit with the like
Thanos or two
yeah,
ones like Thanos where he's on his desk like laying
they
down
got
and
like a
stuff like
map and a shitty globe over here
that.
and
Yeah.
just like 3 pencils laying out, feather and ink. Gets me every time. So you said this might be your favorite card from the set?
This is probably one of my favorites. I've always loved the time spiral esque effects, like Wheel of Fortune and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then I saw this card and I was like, holy shit, I love the art. Um, even for everything Therese Nielsen's been condemned for, her art is absolutely gorgeous. Just out of this world, just such a interesting, intricate, abstract design she went with for this art. But the effect of like being able to play it out of your flash it back out of your graveyard as an actual time twister,
Mm-hmm.
that's such a cool and interesting way to get around, kind of reserved list things, but still be able to cast a reserved list spell.
This spell always felt like they were designing it for Legacy.
Yeah.
For specifically
Yes.
for Lion's Eye Diamond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first like the Lotus-esque effects where you can just like if you could somehow get into the graveyard right away and then crack a Lotus and cast it or something.
Where they're going, how do we make Time Spiral a legal card, and then our Time Twister a legal card, and then make it like work with Lion's Eye Diamond.
Yeah.
But also almost the concept of like Lion's Eye Diamond was designed as a bad Black Lotus, like an unplayable Black Lotus.
How do we make it playable?
On the upside, the top side of this at 6 mana, this is almost an unplayable Time Twister.
Yeah.
So it's like I like those two things coming together. Whether or not they thought that when they're designing it.
Oh yeah.
It's fun.
And I've cast it plenty of times for the 6 mana, and I still think it feels pretty alright.
Yeah, it doesn't end the turn, which is unique as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, being able to like crack you look at your opening hand, you get an LED and an Echo Valance. You could just go LED crack, discard my hand, Echo Valance, get a new hand. Replenish, do it over and over again. Yeah. So, sweet card. I love that card.
I would not put it as my favorite card of the set, but another sword. Sort of black
this one's
and red.
pretty decent. I like this sword a lot. I played it several times. Just being able to destroy a planeswalker. This is like still, I can't remember if this is still on the early side for seeing planeswalker destruction.
It is, yes.
So this is like
we were talking about that with Ren and 6.
Yeah. Where this is a card that targeted planeswalker specifically. So I remember playing this in some mid-range decks because of that fact. It's good, gamers.
Retro waffles.
Should be changing Murktide lists in the era of modern. Well, Fury just got banned, so Murktide's really good right now.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
What should you be playing?
whatever you want.
Yeah.
Honestly, try something, figure it
The
out.
format's shaken up, so
Yeah.
you're more able to get away with rogue list.
We were kind of talking before about scam. We saw some lists that were
Oh,
moving
what am I
towards
here?
the white black, and they're actually incorporating a Stoneforge package, going for like Cauldra or a sword. Um, but otherwise, Yawgmoth's been big on the rise. Murktide is doing really pretty well. Tron's doing pretty well. What other deck lists? Rhinos is still kicking.
Yeah, I mean, specifically for Murktide, it's very reminiscent of its original deck list. It's got preordained now.
Mm-hmm.
How does it match up against Yawgmoth?
I think fine between 4 counterspells, 3 bolts, 4 unholy heats.
Yeah, the undying creatures, sure, they're somewhat aggressive and they're resilient, but you can eclipse them or
Unholy
race
heat.
them for almost a better mana rate.
Mm-hmm.
You're well, this one's not even playing. Oh, it is playing Ragavan, but Ragavan's gonna have a nightmare getting through that deck, whereas Darcy, Murktide, and Ledger Shredder are gonna do pretty good against it.
Oh yeah.
If you can, um, one for one their halfling right off the bat, and then be able to counter their Yawgmoth or whatever they're getting the Yawgmoth for, you stand a hell of a lot better chance.
Mm.
But you might still be able to respond to their Yawgmoth once it's resolved with an Unholy Heat and just kill it outright.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of options for this deck. So I think Murktide is pretty well positioned right now.
Yeah, I mean it was that and creativity were like extremely well positioned in the last format before this. The One Ring and Orcish Bowmaster screwed that up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Orcish Bowmaster might be the biggest thing holding this deck back.
True. Between Ragavons and Darcy's, and then
Preordained edition.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was running Consider instead, but that instant speed gives you a little bit more room to play around an Orcish Bowmaster.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's what I have built right now. Is it the best deck? I can't say that. It definitely isn't. But it's a very solid deck that you're gonna win games with. You're gonna lose games with. It's not. It's pretty middle of the road.
Yeah. Yeah. I think right now is a really good time to experiment too.
Yeah, I literally built it because it was a safe bet, and I didn't have the stuff for Yawgmoth. I don't want to play Yawgmoth, to be honest, and just like
yeah, I never really enjoyed the deck style either.
What's weird is we've always loved those types of decks, but when it comes to this version, I don't like it. But when it comes to that new Explore version in Pioneer, I'm like, fuck, I need to get all those cards. I love this. I love it so much.
What's the Explore version?
Wild Growth Walker.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you explore, you gain 3 life. And then there's a new creature that says whenever you gain life, you explore. And then it also has another effect that like when it hits 20 light or 20 power, when this card when it resolves, destroy all other creatures. So you're making infinite infinites and you're gaining infinite life.
Oh, okay.
Off of that. And there's kind of some little piddly cards in there too. When you see it, you'll like it.
I saw. I was kind of hoping that from Lord of the Rings, the Rosy Cotton Squirrel Nest or Scurry Oak combo would make headway.
Yeah,
because they're both 3 drops. So I saw like collected company started to get played again. In that someone tried that deck list. It hasn't shown any promise recently, but that's like that would be another deck where I'm like, I love to play something like that.
Yeah. So they're playing a Brotherhood and Dress Down is somewhat relevant. Engineered Explosive. Yeah, I like. I guess you land a Murktide and you just fucking kill him in 3 shots if the board locks up. I guess you have the threats in the air to deal with a stalled out board state, and
Mm,
they're really not going to be able to race you through a ledger shredder or anything to that capacity.
mm.
I don't know. I'll play the fucking deck and find out. So maybe if I'm not just always playing Canadian Highlander.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's about be what I'm playing here soon. So
Yeah, Bowmaster. That's scary because you still have scam. You still in Yawgmoth's the best deck. So let's say
yep,
maybe 20% of the metagame is playing Bowmaster. That's dangerous.
that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Just a few of my predictions and what I see lining up.
Yeah, I don't see much shaking up in the format too much.
Back to Modern Horizons.
Mm.
We gotta get moving a little bit faster. Giver Runes, big one.
Love this card so much.
All right, Andrew, how do you fix Mother of Runes?
You did it. Giver.
You nailed it.
Giver. You fucking nailed this card out of the ballpark. Like gave it 2 toughness, so it dodges all the X1 removal, which is fantastic. Like if they would have made it an X1, I would have hated WotC for the rest of my life. I probably would have quit playing.
X1 is a human though.
What?
X1, but it's a human.
That's yeah, like that'd be pretty good too though, because of the counter synergy there. But yeah, it can only target another creature,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not as good as Mom, where it's like you never can take it off the field basically. And then they gave it the additional ability being able to target colorless sources, which is pretty huge. Like I've definitely had that come in handy times before.
Do you think that came into play? Do you think they tacked that on when Eldrazi Winter happened?
Maybe. I bet there was
I
some
think the
influence
timing
there.
lines up
Well,
pretty good.
they've always. I feel like there's always been that presence of a colorless deck up until that point, where they were probably thinking something along the lines of that, where they're like, okay, color decks need to have presence or some way to pressure colorless decks.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
hold on. Murktide. Oh, the Tide Bender too is fucking really good against Yawgmoth.
oh yeah,
Because you just lock that bitch down, and they really don't have a way of removing it after that point.
yeah, because it loses all its abilities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would literally have to get one in the graveyard and then cauldron it to another creature. That's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, that makes sense for why they for why that deck is doing. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was just like thinking more about that. Giver of Runes. I mean, I don't know. It showed up in the format. It's played in Hammer Time.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere else, it never really felt that good to me.
I've always loved the Mom effects.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a very simple and fun effect that's very strong, and it provides a lot of strategy interaction where it's like, okay, well, I can do this or this, but this or this will happen. Like, what's the best options or what's the best trade-offs that I can make here?
This is it shows the escalation, the arms race of like 1 toughness, 2 toughness. We're gonna attack 1 toughness creatures, and there's a reason this has 2 toughness.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong reason.
Yeah.
They probably play tested or theory crafted this against Renin 6, and it's just like, why the fuck would you ever play this when Renin 6 is just gonna kill it?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Unbound Flourishing, meh. Never saw play.
Meh. Nope.
Same with
Morphon. Great EDH card. Fantastic EDH card. Super fucking cool for typal stuff. But why am I calling it typal? I should just keep calling it tribal despite WotC.
Mox Tanalite.
Just one day. One day.
It might not be good today. It will someday. Is this the Soul Ring? No, this is the like Mox Diamond version almost.
Mox Diamond, but it suspends for 3 turns.
I actually think the Soul Ring one has more potential. I think if one gets broken, both will be broken, and then something will have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a real fun one.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this one with the swords earlier.
Goblin Engineer.
Yep.
Uh,
So search your library for an artifact card, put it in your graveyard, then shuffle. And then you can sack an artifact, return target artifact with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield for 1 and tapping the creature. This this was so strong for quite a while and did really cool things in tons of different decks. Especially like the biggest one that I liked seeing coming out of this was the painter deck. People were like, this turned on the painter deck huge amounts of benefit for that deck.
Gave them more copies of what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this was one of my initial favorite cards from the set. It kind of settled down. Again, I really like these throwback. I kind of wish they would have named this card.
Yeah.
But then it would have been legendary and I like the value engine you can get going with multiples of these.
Yeah.
Because they're not like so good that you're like, yep, I have to fucking kill that. But
have you ever had 2 of these on the field and Iker
Wellspring or Arkham Astrolabe is what fucking murked me.
Right.
That card, cycling those bad boys.
Yeah, you just keep looping them all day. Just keep drawing a card every time. Yeah, and there's I use this a lot for KCI combo stuff and like EDH too. This card is super cool, like a great throwback to Goblin Engineer.
Yeah. So. The fixed Goblin Engineer.
Right. Or this is Goblin Engineer. The other one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Goblin Welder.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really identified the old cards and they went, what makes this broken? How can we get this into modern and make sure it's not degenerate like it is in Legacy or Vintage?
Yeah.
And home run, grand slam version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, and there's a lot of these cards just scream their throwbacks. It's just like Goblin Welder, Goblin Welder. Let's see here.
My first real try at Modern was trying to revive the Podless Malira combo, and it made you give me Carrion Feeder and Eladamri's Call, which helped a lot. Yeah, we're going to get to that one next, actually. Eladamri's Call?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it is, yeah, next card right here.
Card fucking rocks. I love this card.
Damn, they're expensive.
Yeah.
They're back to $8.
Yeah.
Fair Inclusion, one of those cards. It wasn't on my prediction list, but once I saw it, I was like, yeah, hell, why not?
Yeah. Being able to tutor specifically a creature at instant speed, even for 2 mana, is like, it felt ridiculous at times. I really had times where I was playing Devoted Druid combo when it was really strong, where I'm like, my Eladamri's Calls, I just sometimes wouldn't cut them when I go to sideboard because I know I need those so much because they tutor anything in my deck, basically. The creature decks really loved this card. This card was super, super good for creature-based combo and creature-based utility decks.
I never liked it very much. Every time you did it, I was like, okay, I'll deal with whatever you're getting. But I almost always got baited like into that thinking, and then I was punished for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very straightforward card. Very clear.
And that one's a reprint, obviously.
Yeah, is that the first of the reprint slots?
In this price range
so far, yeah.
Yep.
Sierra never saw play.
Nope, she's cool.
Yeah, the card on the front. Hall of Heliod, that's for EDH. Never.
Yeah.
Is relevant in Modern.
Yeah. I think the Enchantress decks were playing it though. At least so
one of
it helps. One, yeah. It helps the Enchantress decks. It's the Academy Ruins of enchantments.
Sure,
it is. It literally is.
Yeah, it's like, okay, the enchantment decks are losing because they're getting raced out. They're just losing the race to build up the prison wall.
Yeah,
and it's not the fucking reoccurring of the prison wall over and over again, or the value engine of that. It's
no, like I'm saying is it's just the Academy Ruins. It literally is. So,
big one.
Yeah.
Sunbait Canyon, Michael, shout out to you.
Yeah. Burn player.
Burn player.
Shout out to burn players here. Sunbait Canyon.
Still haven't finished the cycle.
This is the first one we've seen tonight of the canopy cycle. Um, I mean, this was incredible. Like having this printed for the first time, seeing the full cycle of them coming in, it enabled a lot of decks to get in on the card advantage value that only like green and white were experiencing with Rising Canopy.
Yeah, a good chunk of the power level of Boggles was having being able to be the only deck that gets to use this.
Gets these Rising Canopy,
Um,
yep.
and then Ren and Six, when people were like theory crafting these plus Ren and Six is also like
Mm-hmm.
huge power upgrade.
Yeah.
That lands archetype deck became more and more realistic with
Mm-hmm.
both of those inclusions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we saw a lot of decks that were playing more mid-range strategy to adopt these, where they're like they can just, once they get the 4 or 5 mana, they're basically topped off, so they can just start sacking them past this
Mm-hmm.
to create card advantage for themselves.
A while back when Khan's Tarkir came into the format, I talked about like people, including myself, would be like, can they print the other fetch lands? It's like, can they print the other colors of these? Like, is black/red too powerful?
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of already almost done it with Mount Doom, I think it is.
Yeah.
Um, those days are gone, but it kind of always reminds me of that. Is like, oh, should they actually finish the cycle? Is it too
Yeah.
dangerous to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, these cards they get played a very good amount, not like a ton, like good, like they're always everywhere, like fetches and duels.
But you will almost always, if you go to a night at F&M, you get to see at least one deck that's running at least 1, 2, or 3 of these.
Yeah, they're a good 1 slot, 2 slot.
Oh yeah, yeah. And more specifically, shout out to Burn again with the canyons, but like Burn benefited a huge amount from these lands. Burn's always running 4 of the Fiery as Lit, 4 of the Sunbay Canyon, I think. Or 4 and 2, or
4
and
and
3,
2, I
or,
think, something like that.
But anyway, they're running as many of them as they can basically.
It really, this was one of the number one things I knew I needed to get from the set. I prioritized these very highly, and I mean, you don't need 4 of each. It's maybe maybe they're underutilized to some extent, but yeah, really good. They're a big surprise to everybody when they announced them.
Yeah, this is a huge selling point of the set, honestly.
Here's another fucking banger of a
absolutely banger card.
Seasoned Pyromancer. Should this have been a 3/3?
I think it's fine as a 2/2. I think it was perfectly strong, especially in the kind of deck it wanted to fit into, or the deck I've seen it played in. It's really kind of your mid-range option. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's not the first creature I would want to cast, and it's not the last creature I would want to cast.
That's a very fair point. It's never the first creature you want to cast. Yeah.
Yep.
The so when they talk about cards pushing other cards out of the format, this is the quintessential card that I think of. Orcish Bowmasters push this card out of the format. Legitimately, it took its slot over, but it also was like it attacks that card. Like it finally started getting played again in Scam, and then Orcish Bowmaster came out and then just ate its lunch.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
It's like, what would you rather, like, just looking at the bigger ecosystem of Modern, would you rather be playing Orcish Bowmaster or this? And I think almost every player is like looking at Seasoned Pyromancer, and they have eyes for Seasoned Pyromancer way more than fucking Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the nostalgia of every player for young Pyromancer.
Maybe. I don't know, because it kind of takes that creature creating a token slot, like in the exact same form function there, but like you said, it attacks back, and then it's just more efficient. Like, what?
It can be hard card, just straight up hard card advantage.
Yeah.
the conditions on the card are just like really well placed.
Mhm. I like that it's a rummage. So you discard first, then draw instead of draw and then discard.
Yeah, if it was the other way, I don't think it would actually ever get played.
Mhm. And it's even conditional. Like I almost think that it doesn't need the ability. Like you don't have for each non land.
It's very rare that that ever comes up. Maybe they were. I mean, this. I think this is a design specifically for the. I wonder if Jerry T was on the freaking design team for this set because Mardu Pyromancer list.
Mhm.
This is fucking awesome. He probably is like, this is my invitational card. This is like the Jerry T invitational card right here.
Yeah.
And how we talked about it is like it's a really great power level. We like where that deck is at. And this would have been a great inclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it need that last effect? Not really.
That's definitely like a last resort. I think it definitely tacked on to pull it up to kind of the mythic level.
I kind of wish I had flying for that level of cost.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Great card.
I put that one and Captain Ranger of Eos, like those two, I freaking love. Oh, we missed a big one. Yeah.
Not yet. We haven't missed it.
But... Oh, Archmage's Charm. This was like one of my big cards for the set. Got to get 4.
Made by favorite artist, Lena Daner. Absolutely love that artist. I got all 4 of mine signed.
Yeah.
So yep, got my playset signed. Yeah, this is a great card. The modal ability of it is fantastic. Like, the CMC at first, I think at first it was kind of intimidating. Everyone was looking at it like 3 blue, but
for 1 more you get Cryptic, dude.
Yeah,
I
was gonna say we already played Cryptic Command, so
yeah.
I don't know why it didn't just take over Cryptic Command slot almost instantly, because that's what this kind of card kind of did.
Too. Eventually, it took time.
Yes. Yeah.
So right away, it's not. There's only one. Well, there's the counter target spell, not a 2-for-1, unless you're countering a card that would be 2-for-1. Target player draws 2 cards. Doesn't it? It's. I guess we always compared it to Cryptic Command, and in that light, it's a bad comparison because for 1 more mana, you're almost not getting the same card advantage. But this kind of cleans it up and brings it into Cryptic Command into a more modern era. And even this is almost getting pushed out. I always wanted Esper Charm to be good in modern, and this was like
this does seem really Esper close. Charm.
Yeah.
The gain control of something with CMC 1 or less. I just had this memory of the one game I played with Death Shadow where I swung you at the Death Shadow and it took you down to like 6, and then end of my turn you just yoinked it with the Archmage's Charm and cracked you back and killed me.
And it gained more popularity after Modern Horizons 2 because of Darcy and Ragavan.
Yeah, still Ragavan.
Yeah, that
people were that was Murktide, like one of the first iterations of Murktide, playing Archmage's Charms to steal each other's Ragavans.
Leaned hard.
Yeah.
And it's always filthy when you kill them with their fucking one mana creature. Always. Like I am proud of that moment of killing you with it, but it's
I think you gained control of an amulet one time when I was playing Amulet Titan too, and like stopped me from
comboing. Yeah. Whereas like the counter wouldn't get me there. Or you had like a Cavern of Souls. That's probably what happened there. Yeah. I usually, whenever I get the opportunity, I'll like, if I have 3 mana open and it's the end of my opponent's turn, I always try to convert this to 2 cards.
Yeah, why not? Like being an instant speed divination is really strong.
There's a lot of newer players that are like, well, it's a counter spell. It can hold it up forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I can turn it into 2 more counter spells.
Alter Dementia. This was one of those reprint cards that first saw and I was like, okay, cool. We got Alter Dementia. Never gonna be relevant, and we were wrong because of Hogak.
Terribly wrong. Yeah, played really well in Hogak for a little bit when they were playing the bridge combo, and then
That's it.
fell off. Yep.
Yeah. This card, no.
That's an EDH card.
Yeah.
Changeling Outcast.
Now this card, Hex Drinker.
I love this card.
I do too, and I it was very weird when it started getting played. It didn't get played like at all, and then it got played a decent amount, and then fell off again because Modern Horizons 2 just completely eclipsed it with the other one drops.
Yeah, I mean it got up to like $20 at one point.
Mm-hmm. It just as a 2/1 for one green man, like everybody was looking at the top side and never it's what it is just right away. And just right away is a 1-drop 2/1. That's pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's not gonna it's not gonna get you rich. You're not gonna lose any money, but you're not gonna get rich off of this one, okay?
But then you escalate it to level 3 and all of a sudden for 4 mana, you've got a 4/4 that has protection from instants.
Do you think this card would get played today if you could level up at instant speed?
That's interesting. I mean,
I don't even think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the level up at sorcery speed was always the thing that people looked at and went, "No thanks. We'll pass on that one." Mm-hmm. Cool card. I really like the art. It's weird, but
yeah, the 8 getting to 8+ 2 is like holy shit. You're just cool. I get a free 6 damage every single turn. I'm just gonna keep beating you to death.
Another card that I lost to in Canadian Highlander.
Yeah.
My opponent, I'm like sitting pretty. I'm like, not much you could have here. As like, if I get past this turn, I'm going to win this game. Mm-hmm. He top decks it, looks at it, throws it down, just taps all his mana into it. And then it has protection from instants at that point, and I go, okay, I have 6 answers in my deck. I dig 9 cards that turn.
Yeah.
And I didn't fucking see what. And then he makes it fucking Progenitus and kills me.
Yep. Yep.
So, fun card.
Yep. I definitely got it to 8 a couple times. Love it. It's super fun.
Winds of Abandon.
I love that card too.
I do too. Just like needed a little something else to it.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe if you I almost want to say reduce it to 1 mana and then reduce the overload to 5.
Today, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
make
or
it
make
a
it an
sorcery
instant
speed path and then reduce the board wipe to 5 mana.
I love how
they were fumigate cost.
They were fucking trigger shy on this guy, but then in MH2 they do prismatic ending, and then like right away after it they do field or ley line binding.
Yeah,
it's true. Just like okay, sure.
Spread the white removal where white removal will be.
Yeah, where this it's fucking worst path to exile.
I had some
upside board white path to exile, whatever.
I had some really fun interactions with like Travis and I would play Death and Taxes mirror match, and my Winds of Abandons, I'd board those in for those matchups, and the overload wins, man. It'll get you.
I mean, yep. You have I1. Yeah, I don't. Mirror and Besiege, like sure, whatever. Got a little bit of play. Crashing Footfalls is the definition of a freaking deck.
Yeah, it defined a whole deck by itself. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a 1 mana suspend card. Compare it to Ancestral Visions and any of the other suspend cards that we've had in the past.
At the very least, with this card, it wasn't a Rhino that made another Rhino. Because if that was the case, that first Rhino, the card that had suspend, it would have haste, and that would have been way, 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 way too much.
Yeah.
The fact that they made the tokens with this card style was really fucking good.
Well, if the Rhino came off of suspend, it would gain haste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it would be a fucking Bloodbraid Elf type of effect. Whereas that the fact that it doesn't have haste is what makes it pretty much
Right,
fair
because
enough to
your
be able
opponent
to stay
end
in the
steps
format.
it. Your opponent usually violent outbursts end step and then
Hmm.
guess it. Okay.
They can, but like the way that the card was initially designed, like I think they had that in mind of
Hmm.
like, okay, if we do it as a spell and make two tokens, then we get around that cascade loophole for I'm sorry, the haste loophole for suspend,
Hmm.
which definitely pushes it over the edge, and then they can't really print the card. I'd almost say.
True.
Um,
Collector Oof.
well,
Oh,
this didn't really get that. It didn't really get played until shards, shardless agent came out, and then it became
yes.
the real deal.
Yeah. MH2 would
Hmm.
push this over the edge with Charlie's Agent on 3.
Should it got played a little bit more? Maybe it'll be fun to look in the net in those 2-ish years in between and see if there was more room for rhinos.
Yeah.
Collector Oomph, Great Silver Bullet. Um,
Super good callback
yeah.
to Null Rod.
Hmm.
Super cool card. Played it quite a few times. Great creature toolbox card.
You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah. Yep. One or the other.
Very binary card.
The
The
talismans.
talismans finishing that cycle.
Yep.
Uh, again, with this set, there's a lot of cards that came in a little too late for them to really shine.
Yep.
These came in a few years earlier. They might have actually done something. Just not quite up to the power level. It's fun to see them.
Yeah.
And a lot of EDH players were happy about them. Unsettled Mariner.
Great typo card.
Mm-hmm.
Super good for humans. I know this was really good in humans at first, dipped down for quite a while, and then there was a more recent like mono white, or they're kind of bouncing around
Blue-white.
a couple colors. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
blue white humans deck that was running Unsettled Mariners in it.
What do you mean? It's not human.
It's everything.
It's a shapeshifter. It's a sliver.
It's an egg.
Yeah.
It's Uncle Ivan.
Yeah, I think humans got some better protection cards, like especially what's the newer one that gives it +1/+0 and Ward 1. It came out in the weird like small set.
Oh, Copper Knight, Copper Coat Vanguard.
Copper Coat Vanguard completely is just like fuck Unsettled Mariner. Get out of
Yeah.
here.
Well, they were playing both of them in the same deck.
We'll come down to the legible ephemerate.
Mm-hmm.
They've been printing these cloud shift effects forever. It was always cloud shift effects.
Yep.
Or momentary. It was momentary blink effects. Then cloud shift effects, and now it is ephemerate.
Yep.
Good spot, good power level.
The rebound effect is super cool. That's a great callback.
And the evoke creatures definitely made this something. But that rebound, that situational like card advantage, or actually getting a full card's worth out of it because of that rebound.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people who like this card. I don't think anybody hates this card.
Yeah. I think that it is the creatures around it that are around the card that determine how hateful you care about ephemerate.
There's some combos you can pull off with it, but
yeah,
none of them are so game breaking that people are gonna get pissed at you for pulling it off.
Oh yeah.
Maybe in EDH because that's just what happens. Tribute Mage. It's a tribute to the other Trinket Mage and Trophy Mage.
You passed by what's called Fallen Shenanigan.
Where?
I think that one saw something in somewhere, but I don't know. Defile. That was a reprint from something, right?
No, I think it's a new card.
Oh really?
I believe so. I could be wrong on that.
Mono black decks have been playing this, haven't they?
Yeah. It was always one of those. It could be good kind of cards, but not enough for me to really get excited about. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it would show up on the first page if it was, but Yeah, another one of those cards that could have broke through, just not the the modern format had already eclipsed it.
Yep.
Here, this one was really on the top of my list for cards for the set.
I picked up my playset as soon as I could get them, and these were dirt cheap when they first came out. Like no one was interested in them at first.
They're like $4 if I remember correctly, and they got slowly eked up to like 10, $12. Um, I love this card. Moose loved this card. You loved the card.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like this card more than anything feels like the baleful strix of this, like a here you go, here's your kind of baleful strix for modern.
And how they did it is just so unique. Like
Yeah.
nobody would have predicted this card.
Mhm.
Like really.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they did design this card and this is what they came out with is just so cool to me.
Yeah, I love it because baleful strix has always been kind of like that. You stick it out there for the card advantage, and then if it eats a creature when it's blocking because it's got death touch, great, fantastic, we love it. But this was like, my opponent's going to go for a swing. I've got my sneak attack Ice Fang Coatl if they don't recognize I've got 3 snow basics up or something,
The Baleful Strix is such a no duh play. It's like, okay, 2 for 1. I get like,
Yeah.
I got the 2 for 1.
Yeah.
This has way more finesse where you're like, okay, I could counter this spell. I'm always leaving the mana open.
Mm-hmm.
I could be countering your spell. You're not going to do anything. Okay, Ice Fang Coatl. I'm going to get that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not necessarily getting that second card off of it right away. But in 3 turns, or you're always afraid of that fetch land.
Yep. Yeah, the third fetch land is like pretty crucial too. Like, make sure opponents pay attention to your mana base.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you pay attention to like what you're fetching for, because you're restricting yourselves on colors in order to enable the Ice Fang Coatl all the way.
This was one of the first times that in the modern format that like fetching to trigger something on the field. Like now we have Dwarven Mine, now in not Firelight Islet, Mystic Sanctuary, and then
like triomes now and stuff like that.
Yeah, you had like, now it's like fetching can cause something. Well, Death Shadow did it too, whereas like, oh, you fetch, there's now a consequence to me actually fetching.
Right.
This did the same thing.
Right.
Is more blatant.
Introduce the consequence to fetching.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's always been a cornerstone of the modern format, so it's super cool that they played into it with this card too. Mm-hmm. Like, this definitely was easily one of the best design cards of the entire set.
Yeah, I fucking love it. I love the it's a flying, the snake, the coital aspect of it.
Yeah.
Flash is a huge well, I wouldn't even say upgrade. I don't think this card is better than Baleful Strix, but
yeah, Flash is an upgrade.
People were disappointed that we didn't just get Shardless Agent and Baleful Strix in the first Modern Horizon set, but it's also cooler that they gave us more uniquely designed cards again, I'll say it, cards designed with finesse instead of this blatantly just blah 1 2
blah, here's my 2 for 1.
It really went off, it really dropped off with Arkham's Astrolabe. But there's some formats where it's good, some formats where it's just fucking trash, and today is one of those formats where it's trash. What do you get? You gonna play this when there's an Orcish Bowmaster floating around? Hell no. Yeah. They don't do anything against that.
Yeah, your opponent's gonna be like, swing with my grief, and you're gonna be like, okay, cast my Ice Fang Coatl, and they're gonna be like, response, Bowmasters.
You have lost every game of Magic ever. in that Dragon Ball Z card game that I talked about, there used to be tournaments where if you got overkilled by so much damage, like let's say they did 20 more damage than, like 20 extra damage than you had life.
Yeah, like
you were DQ'd from the fucking tournament.
That's hilarious.
That's what that would feel like. Plague Engineer, Great fucking card design.
Yeah.
Very scary to a lot of people because they didn't like the concept of like you hosing. They don't like the color hoser. They don't like the typal hoser. This is just a direct rip off of Plague and Plague or Engineered Plague.
You were kicked out of the tourney. Were you?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't ever play in those because
Oh.
you couldn't win by gate. So there's three ways of winning. You mill your opponent out, which is that's the damage.
Yeah.
You mill cards off the top. Getting all 7 Dragon Balls on the field, you win the game.
Mhm.
Or getting your main personality, like the character you're playing, to its highest level. And there's like 5 levels. And so you could not win by highest main personality or Dragon Balls. And the only deck I really had was Dragon Balls, so I just never played in those, and I was afraid to.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, I was a little bitch.
Yeah.
They're called tough enough only tournaments.
Hilarious.
Yeah. They're fucking. It's just crazy, and Yu-Gi-Oh has mechanics kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Plague Engineer, you got any more about that guy?
Nope. Just I think I talked about it last week when I was like, I went up against Phyrexian deck like a week or two before they made the announcement for the name change to Phyrexian type.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I could have got that effect guy. I could have won. Just Plague Engineer. Bam.
Soul Herder, really cool design.
I love this card.
Wonderful art.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Seb McKinnon, gorgeous art. Absolutely gorgeous art.
He's easily one of my favorites. Magic artists.
This is definitely one of these higher value uncommons that does a lot. Like this does a lot on the front end.
You let it sit, you're gonna lose that game.
Yes.
It's they in this set they're like, let's make blinking effects great again.
Yeah.
Momentary blink and cloud shift ain't good enough. Let's really do it. Do it right. And then those got pushed out by fucking undead effects.
Yeah.
And dying effects.
So yeah, the counter synergy with in like being able to at the end step just flicker something with it. This thing will get really big really quick if you aren't paying attention. I've won quite a few games where I'm like slammed a couple soul hoarders and just started flickering random crap on the board.
I've never played this card in constructed.
I played it a lot in limited. Limited is where I played the most of it. And in limited in this set is so good.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Fiery Islet. That's one of the ones that still gets played consistently.
Ooh, the generous gift.
This isn't EDH hour, bud.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Kess.
Anyway, it's a beast within.
Kess,
so.
I wanted Kess so bad in Modern, and then I got it, and it did nothing.
And she was too late.
I remember when I played it in EDH, and I was like, wait a second, it's only on my turn? This card sucks. It's not Snapcaster Mage. And I was just like fucking over after that. More talismans, more Horizon lands, ninjutsu cards. Super cool. I love
some
ninjutsu.
things going on with ninjas lately. I can't remember what it was.
Legacy was.
Oh, okay. That
Legacy
was probably it. Yeah.
Ninjas was a pretty legitimate deck.
Yeah. Snow covered lands.
Okay, yeah, we got it.
Nicol Bolas is butt plug.
I've never heard that.
That's what I was saying. You take that art, if you walked around the backside of it, you see a little scratching on the back of the ice. It says Nicol Bolas's butt plug.
I see it now. Snowlands, yeah, everybody was kind of rooting for it to come back. We needed a reprint of Snowlands desperately.
This is the first and only time, not the only time, Secret Layers now, but the only time in a set where we've gotten full art Snowlands.
Kaldheim didn't have them?
Nope.
I guess so.
So, yeah, these are highly anticipated and super cool to get. And they were in every pack, which was awesome.
True. This might have been one of the last times I was actually excited or like in need of basic lands.
Yeah.
Because somebody cracked tons and tons of Modern Horizons. one, and eventually I traded for like, I don't know, 15, 20 of each of them from
Yeah.
them. I don't know, like all the snow mechanics or snow things really be all the cool interactions came from either gifts ungiven or things from the set. Otherwise, it's kind of a dead mechanic. With Astro's Arkham Lab and Ice Fang Coital being gone, it's a dead mechanic.
Yeah.
There's no upside. There's no trickery.
Yeah. I mean, like now, literally the only consideration I've ever thought about for like snow stuff is, two things. Field of the Dead in a format where that's legal. Like you play a
Ooh, good
split
point.
snow and non-snow, and then extra planar lens.
Okay, to get them.
Silly, just silly shit like that.
The Field of the Dead is very relevant in modern.
Yeah.
Is Field of the Dead banned in modern?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Deep
Forest Hermit, cool callback. Yeah.
Carrion Feeder.
That was a real card.
Cool reprint.
Yeah, came a little too late, I think.
Almost. It got played.
I was in contention for playing that between that and Vizier Seer, but Vizier Seer was just too much advantage, like being able to scry through your deck instead of putting infinite counters on something. Because I'm trying to win off a Walking Ballista.
True.
Not a Carrion Feeder.
Yeah. You're desperate to get that Walking Ballista. I remember proposing to you, like, because I think I was on the Carrion Feeder plan at that time, and I think I said at one point, I was like, all right, every time you are like, think of the position you're in and think of, okay, if I had a Carrion Feeder here, would I be winning? And like, how many times is that situation true in favor of the Carrion Feeder and against the Carrion Feeder? And it's not the easiest straightforward thing to measure, but you kind of can do a decent job of it.
Right.
I don't remember the data on that bad boy, but I think that was one of the first times I proposed that situation of like, okay, you can think about it, but until you're like, take it, then you can theory craft and talk about it with your friends, but take it the next step, and then in that game really start crunching the numbers and, and I'm in this position, the shit's hitting the fan.
Right.
On Thin Ice, another card that could be it uses a snow mechanic, never amounted to much. I was very surprised that this didn't do better. All those Chain of the Rocks and On Thin Ice effects, I thought those were fucking the nuts. But
yeah, very cool callback to Chain of the Rocks too. So.
And then
the infamous bad boy himself, Hogak. Hogak.
Nightmare of the set.
We were always talking about how he would be infinitely more balanced if you just got rid of that little keyword at the bottom, trample. Because you could block them with the next one.
But then they just go, I mean, I did think of this a little bit later. It's like, well, then they just fucking go straight hard into the combo. Like the deck just retains the combo aspect.
Which is where I think almost like getting rid of the bridges was a good thing in that regard. If Hogak didn't have trample, I wonder what would have happened.
Yep.
Yeah. So the deck would probably still play the Vengevine build though. So
yeah, and I mean, you've all read the articles talking about it. It's just like this is one of the times that we all eye roll and go, "What the fuck were you doing?" Like you've learned these lessons. You've learned the lessons with Delve. You've learned the lessons with free magic.
Yeah.
It's almost unexcusable. Well, I mean, they put a bunch of they put a strong condition on it.
Yeah, can't spend mana to cast it. It's got Convoke and Delve, and it's 7 mana.
But when you do these certain things, you need to vet the fuck out of it. And some of these things getting past the door at this point, it kind of just like,
come on, yeah.
You've learned the lesson. We all know you've learned the lesson. You've stated it a million fucking times. Why do you keep doing this? And there are new designers. It's not, maybe it's their first time learning breaking the rules. themselves should know that going into the role.
Right.
But it's it when you're playing with fire, you need to fucking carry a water bucket around with you. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Almost got to put out a fire at work the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Weather the storm. Cool KO blow to
Poor Storm.
storm if you really wanted it.
Poor Storm. Yeah, that's the like the crushing blast, the big like best of the coffee. There's the lightning skeletal. Yeah.
That was there's like almost an early scam deck playing this and Unearth.
Yes. Yeah. Playing ball of lightning, lightning skeletal, just all that effect. Just try to like bam, bam, bam.
The black, red, mid. I think Sam was playing that at one.
Oh yeah.
Or was Sam or Jordan?
Sam was trying to build. Yeah, Jordan had it built. Yeah.
And then yeah, it's just kind of. I mean, they don't have a removal spell. It's just fucking brutal card.
Yeah.
The Kaya's Guile. Another one that was just like such. It's not a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It's why the fuck is she getting a command card? Like, what is this card? This just didn't make any sense to me.
Interesting choice flavor wise. Really cool card. I like it a lot. I like this card.
Especially, I wish it was 2 mana.
Yeah. I mean, the entwine thing just makes like I think that's how awesome. They did a very good job at the order in which they put the entwine as well, or the order in which they put the modes.
Yes, so
that really matters.
Surprisingly, this is one of the first cards that really that mattered
it's
to
very
me.
Important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cryptic Command never really did that. Like
there were instances where it mattered, but none where it was like explicit to the card itself in a vacuum mattering. Because this, you sack each opponent sacks a creature and then exile all cards from each opponent's graveyard.
Yeah.
Like if you had them in the wrong order, it wouldn't do the right thing. So it's just one of those very explicit like.
I'm happy you brought that up, but entwine for fucking 6 mana, it's not doing that much. It could have cost less. With the entwine could have been like 1.
Yeah, this could have been an actual stand-up card and potentially do something.
Opponent sacrifice exile cards from graveyard, create a 1/1 flyer and gain 4 life. Put it at 2 and entwine for 2. 4 mana. That barely competes with standard cards right now. The modular effect, it does a little, like that, but it's a straight to modern card. We don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
Yeah, it could have got away with more. This guy,
Passion Mons, a great goblin card. I know a lot of people who like love goblins. Really, really loved this.
I was that one guy at one point.
Slivers.
It was a more of an end game for goblins. They were really trying to make goblins a fucking deck in modern for years, and just slowly was feeding the pieces, and it's finally almost got everything except Goblin Lackey.
Yeah. So, MH1, MH2 were like really big for goblins. The goblins deck.
I don't even know. MH3 Goblin Lackey.
Hornets, yeah, maybe. I don't see why not.
Orcs are better than Goblin. Orcish Bowmasters are definitely better than
Yeah, true.
Goblins usually doesn't get his card advantage from drawing cards. It's from now it's exiling or from Ringleader.
There was something in the Lord of the Rings set that referred to orcs and goblins. I can't remember what it is, but they had like 1 or 2 cards that referred to specifically both orcs and goblins.
Yeah, we need to start getting in the. We need to start call-in cards for Modern Horizons 3.
With this much as we're going through the format, might be able to pick it apart.
Well, we'd have to go before Modern.
Well, yeah, maybe. It's true.
Dude, imagine if they were really thinking about abolishing the reserve list. Like, they were like, this is in the fucking pipeline. We're going to do it. And Modern Horizons 3 is going to have dual lands. And then everybody reacted so negatively to fucking Magic 30 that it just like tanked the whole concept.
Well, have you seen that
they like had to delay it or something. But I was good.
The 30th anniversary stuff is already going back down to almost buy prices, like the price it was to get it out the door, like $1,000.
As it should be fucking lower. It should have been. They should be punished for like buying into that bullshit. um.
Scale up.
Oh yeah, we missed that guy.
Yep.
I was looking for a cleaner version. Yeah, I mean, in fact, finally got another tool that was
Yeah,
actually good.
it was good for. I think it did really well for a while at least.
This card can be an overrun in EDH too.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's cool. It's a little too late for its time, unfortunately.
Yeah. There were other cards that helped the infect more. Fucking Ario Flames.
I've got 40 of these, baby, sitting at home.
Someone spike it, please.
Hey, they're worth more than what I bought them for right now.
So you weren't playing at the time, but someone made a post that they were buying up all copies of Seance, the card Seance.
Yes, I've seen the Seance thing.
And
yeah,
somebody and they said if somebody top 32s, they're unlocks. If you top 32 with Seance in your fucking Pro Tour deck, I'm giving you X amount of dollars. If you top 8 with it, if you win the Pro Tour with Seance in your deck, I'm giving you like $10,000 or something fucking crazy. And so there's this weird rush on Seances, and I just remember tons of people were like, okay, dude, they're gonna make they're gotta make this card work. Like it's borderline playable. I read it, I'm like, this card is utter dog shit.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, in Magic Christmas Land you can make that somewhat work in your head, but I'm like I the amount of people who tried to convince me that this is a playable Magic card is just unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I remember reading the card at one point, and I don't remember what the text anymore is because I know the card's dog shit enough that I don't need to know what it does.
Moving on.
Yeah,
this card. Your situation reminds me of that.
So I guess getting serious about what this card actually is, it seems like it's a try on a new Pyromancer's Ascension.
Yes.
Definitely very cool how it's just exponential damage over and over again. Oh God, sorry, I'm thinking about the Seance guy because I know there's the whole collection is in the hands of a YouTuber now. I saw a YouTube video on it recently. He puts like an 8-minute video.
If he wants more, I think I could scavenge out a few more. I don't like this card.
What, you don't like your opponents gaining 10 life and then blowing up your enchantment?
Not in red.
Yeah.
Why is red giving your opponent life? It's a cool card design.
Yeah.
It's
poorly designed. I think
I don't even know if it's
I don't like the way that it was designed, honestly. The fact that it gains your opponent's 10 life. Yeah, like you said on a red card too.
If it had a white pip on it, I'd be way more open to it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't fit in those storm decks.
Why don't you just skull crack them and then cast this?
Oh, you're a goddamn genius.
We broke it. We broke it.
I remember the first time I played against this, I was like, you can't fucking win. You can't beat this card. It was one of those that, like, I remember playing D-Low with Pox in Legacy one time, and he was playing Delver. And game 1, I beat him. It was, like, just a really clean game for Pox. And he's like, you can't beat this deck. It's like, he's like, this is unwinnable. And then he beat me in games 2 and games 3. And I was at the end.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking D-Lo. I miss playing against him. I always love playing against him because you watch him over there. He is fucking vibrating. The dude vibrates when he's playing. He's like shaking. He's putting his hands through his hair. And
I miss him so much. Uh, oh, GP Chicago. I know some people who might be going.
Spencer, Brandon, and Jack are going.
I might be going. So if you want to do a YouTuber meetup, we might be able to
GP
organize
Chicago.
something. Yeah,
What
you
else we
fucked
got?
up on that buyout. Oh well.
It's more
The whole-
expensive. Like I
whole
said,
$10 down the
that
drain.
that market price is higher than what I paid for them. You know how much I paid for them? They were literally 4 cents a piece.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Ice fan coils. Me getting them at $4 a piece really looks like really hurts. Same with Plague Engineers. I got one of them at 12 a piece.
Oh
Trade
my
for at 12.
God, tragic.
Force of Virtue. Jesus Christ, man. This is just hurt.
Dark Depths token. That one's basically a card in and of itself.
Wait, why is that even in this set? Oh,
Because of the
blue thing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep, blue enchantment.
Okay. Scrapyard Recombiner has seen some play. It's,
In the modular decks.
yeah, it's pretty. It's a cool card. It's D's.
Mhm.
It's not gonna make you poor. Ain't gonna make you rich. But it is a card that it can get played.
Mhm.
Some random ass jank with random throwbacks.
Yeah. Some of these changeling cards are really good for like the type decks.
Spore Frog, it needed a reprint, but you don't want a format where that's getting looped.
Yeah.
You really don't want that to ever be a playable card in the format.
Mhm.
Crip Rat's almost the same situation. You never want it to actually be a playable card.
Yeah, I think some of this was like a good way for them to kind of get some of these commons
The
reprinted.
popper stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. This isn't the set to do it though. The Ultimate Masters bullshit. The M25 is where you should have done it because those could be big mistakes.
Mhm.
It's probably not going to happen, but it could, and you'll pay the piper for it.
Right.
Winding Way, and in Limited, like Crypt Rats in Limited is fucking busted.
Yeah.
Winding Way, cool card.
Mhm.
Genesis, it way past its due date on that guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Dead of Winter,
Dead of Winter's a really cool card.
another
I
card
like
that
that card a lot.
plays into the snow mechanic.
Yeah.
You didn't see anything really worth.
This felt a little bit like we were getting Toxic Deluge for Modern in some ways.
Yeah.
Like you had pretty good control over it with the number of lands that you had in play, snow lands and stuff like that. And then I think it only. Oh, I didn't know if okay.
It's for snow permanents. XX.
Yeah.
Minus
I
X
didn't know
minus.
if it protected your snow permanents from the XX or not.
Oh,
but
interesting.
I don't think it does.
No.
Yeah.
And for 3 mana,
Yeah, that's
Which is
what
a good
Toxic
point.
Deluge esque.
the Toxic Deluge, I was rooting for that in both of the Modern Horizon sets, and now I'm like, fuck that. Do not print that in Modern Horizons 3 for the love of God. Future Sight past its due date. Lava Dart, great inclusion, great little. Don't repeat yourself, Lucas. It's just
Great little
it
utility.
sees
comment.
enough play.
Yeah.
Like not all
Yeah.
of these have to define a format or even define a deck. Just get played.
Even little cards like this have really interesting niches because we're talking about like Aria Flames earlier, and the first card that popped in my head was Lava Dart. So I'm like, you spend 1 mana for it, sack them out, and like you're just getting the free counters out of it to
Mhm.
deal more damage. Like it's great for that effect. The fact anything that's got a free cast option to it in some way, shape, or form always will have some sort of utility.
One card deals 5 damage,
Yeah.
right? Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prowess this really kicked up Prowess. If Prowess didn't exist, this card doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And then my foil OG copy is really tanking price. I'm surprised. I'm really am surprised it's held on as long as it has. That those, I call them fancy burn decks, but the Prowess decks, they keep getting a new toy, but never pushing up to the top tables.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I love that style of play. I like the most of the cards in the decks.
Yeah.
Uh, two more goblin cards.
Really big goblin cards, honestly. Goblin Matron especially. Goblin Sling Gang Lieutenant enabled quite a bit of like a lot of goblin to really get into the combo synergy
Yeah,
stuff.
well, it took Canisius Snoop to
Yes.
really
Yeah.
make that deck a deck.
Right. Right.
um, it's just like, oh, here's more 3 and 4 drops. Here's more 3 and 4 drops. It's like, come on, we need a fucking goblin lackey. Tectonic Reformation, another really fun card for that lands style deck that just never has come together.
Yep.
Full art elemental tokens that are foil. I got a fuck ton of those.
The ones that are the flip over ones from the onset.
Do you have those? I'm sure I have a bunch of those.
I gave you at least one of those. I remember.
Unearth. This card might get broken here sooner than later. Like that one's always.
You gotta be careful
scary.
when you print below 3 CMC because that card.
Yeah, and
it's just a reanimate for the 3 CMC or less. So.
Yeah, we just got a card that was kind of like that 8/8 thing that easily could have been the card.
True. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm. This, I wish it got played a little more in Modern. I wish it got played just as much as Lava Dart. And then, but it is a scary card. The ceiling on that guy is pretty high, whereas Lava Dart's pretty low. Cool card, cool effect. Yeah.
Magmatic Sinkhole. Did that see any play?
I played it as a one of a lot in blue red decks.
I mean, it seems good. It's got Delve on it, so
it got pushed out pretty quick too.
Yep.
When there wasn't a lot of Planeswalker effects, this was pretty relevant. I mean, Putrid Goblin was Popper card.
Wall Blossom. It's too late for that, but
Planebound Accomplice. There's never been a Planeswalker that's worth doing this with.
It has infinite combos at least, so that's pretty cool.
That's cute. Lonely Sandbar. Okay, so this was on my wish list. This is one of my biggest cards on my wish list.
The 1-mana cyclers.
The 1-mana cyclers.
Yeah.
Haven't done dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
tragic.
Really is.
Yeah.
I was pretty pissed that they put the Horizon lands with these. Because I was like, you're directly attacking it. Like,
they're just strictly better.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is. Those were easy includes, especially at that point.
You see them every once in a while as like one-ofs, but that is the most love that card ever gets.
Very rarely. Yeah. Squirrel's Nest, like,
cool.
Just combos. A throw-in.
Yeah.
Cabal Therapist was like the first card that they spoiled.
And it was $30 in reorder.
I just remember reading that card and be like,
What
do you guys think?
I remember reading it and going,
good?
How do I read the whole thing and I go, how do I trigger this again?
Now when I read, I'm like, it's not as bad as I actually remember it being, but it's still not good.
It's a 1/1 with Menace.
Could they give us Cabal Therapy in Modern at this point?
Probably.
They'd have to get rid of Grief. You can't have Thoughtseize, Grief, and Cabal Therapy in the same fucking deck.
No, probably not.
Or for the love of God, don't. Yeah, I used to love Cabal Therapy. I love soul reading people.
Guessing and checking.
Munitions Expert,
Another great. That's a really good Goblin card.
Mm-hmm. That's an important print. We're really hitting. Fucking. We couldn't get Astral Drift or
Astral Slide.
Astral Slide, so they gave us Astral Drift. It's 4 cents.
But the promo is even cheaper. What is on on the battlefield.
You may exile target creature. Okay, I did think it was only a target creature you controlled.
So when you cycle, when it cycles, excuse me. When it cycles or another card cycles while it is on the battlefield, you flicker something. Oh no, you flicker wisp something to the end step.
Damn Pokemon cards.
Slide.
What's Ash? Okay, I want to read Astral Sight because it's been a hot moment. Whenever a player cycles a card, so any player, you may remove target creature from the game. If you do, return that creature to play under its owner's control at the end of turn. And then this is
yeah, you
whenever
flicker.
you cycle
Okay.
it or another card, Astral. While it's on the battlefield, you may exile a target creature. If you do, return that creature to the battlefield. So it is. It's
Better.
pretty much a strict upgrade.
Yeah, it's just strictly better.
Interesting. I thought it was worse for some reason.
Yeah, me too. Huh.
And this card has never seen play.
No.
Never.
We don't have enough good cycling effects for this, I feel like.
It's just
Even
your
then,
deck doesn't
even
do
then,
anything
yeah.
until that point.
What does it do? It flickers them for a turn. Great. Cool.
Yeah. Throws of Chaos. If this card is good, that's a not healthy format.
Yeah.
You're doing something dumb.
Yeah, it's just some weird shit when you're playing that card.
It's seen some sideboard play and like Cascade style effects. I don't know. It's like serum powder where it's like if this card is getting played, there's a fucking problem. I am very impressed that some of the Drazi Tron lists were playing it in a fair manner.
Oh yeah.
That always blew my mind.
Yeah.
Collected Conjuring. Everybody hated that card so much.
It's dumb.
Rebuild was a cool card. Factor Fiction was another really cool reprint.
Mm-hmm.
Got pushed out by Soren's Ransom.
Yeah.
Rebuild. There's just no artifact based decks floating around anymore. And more cyclers. We're really getting to the bottom of the barrel here.
I thought Ice Hide Golem would up just a little bit. It's a 2/2 for 1, just like no text, Snow Golem.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool design, and I was hoping that it would see anything play wise, but it's just not good.
I did too. Yeah, it just needs some more.
Yeah.
Wait, where's the Arkham's Astrolabe? Is it worth this little? Holy shit! Buyout. Ransack the Lab was a cool card in my eyes, but I mean, this guy got banned in the format.
Yeah.
In multiple.
That's
formats.
the only reason it's so cheap. It's banned. Mm-hmm. So this card's fantastic. Like almost seemed too good for what it did because it was such a good fixer, and the artifact synergy of it like enabled quite a few different things. A lot of Oko. You'd play this, draw a card, and then uptick your Oko on your Astrolabe, turn it into a 3/3, and go to combat.
Yeah.
So
this card practically exists as an enchantment.
Yeah.
But not even close to as good.
Yeah.
It is that artifact fucking subtype, or not super type. It's super type.
Yeah.
It's funny how just that amount makes the difference.
Yeah.
There is some minutia there too. Bizarre Trade Mage. This was spoiled really early on. For the longest time, I thought this was card disadvantage. It's not. It's card neutral.
Yeah, because it itself is a card.
It itself is a card.
Yep.
It's a good.
It's a 3/4 for 3 flyer. Like
Yeah.
it's a decent body. I kept a couple of these around just because I think it's a cool card.
This card, I mean, I think there's some like EDH or maybe Canadian Highlander decks that could be using this that just it's not even on anybody's radar.
Right.
Yeah.
I like Stream of Thought. It's a kind of cool card right there. You're hovering over it right now.
Oh. for the layman, it's 1 blue. Target player puts top 4 cards of their library in their graveyard. You shuffle up to 4 cards from the graveyard in your library.
And you can replicate
Replicate.
it for 4.
Jesus Christ, you fucking mill player. Smiting Helix. That was another Mardu Pyromancer card.
Ravenous Jin or Giant, the Juzam Jin of this set.
Yeah, the red
Juzam
Jin.
That
another Time Spiral throwback card. Yeah, Jerry T probably invented or designed Smiting Helix. Salvaging Swipe got played. In Infect. Shenanigans we talked about last week.
Diabolic Edict, too late to be effective.
Yeah. Now it's like
immediately got pushed out by Liliana's Triumph.
Pillage, Reckless Charge. I thought Reckless Charge would do a little bit more than it did. Mm-hmm. Exclude. Really cool card. Yeah. Used to be super good because of the 2-for-1 aspect, and especially at that rate. That's a very good card. Firebolt, same kind of situation. Battle Screech, literally a popper reprint.
Yeah. Iceberg Cantrix too. That was like the snow Hedron Crab. Saw a tiny bit of play, but that was it.
Oh, not much there. I don't even remember most. I remember the picture, but Prohibit, same kind of thing as Exclude.
Yep.
It's just past its due date. Mana War, same situation. Yep. Urza's Rage. They were more conservative back then with those reprint cards, whereas then we got Counterspell. Windcaller Raven is a good cycler. Nimble Mongoose.
That was a card thought would see something.
This one hurt really bad.
This is a really cool card.
This was one of my favorite cards for a very long time. I loved Mongoose when I was a kid, like a Ricky Tikki Tabi. And so it was one of the first cards I ever had was Nimble Mongoose, and it was one of the first signed cards I ever had. And it's just kind of like we finally got it and it just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah. It's pretty tragic.
And then right around that same time, it was just like, this card is not good in Legacy anymore.
Yeah.
I never really got to play much of it.
Yeah.
That brings us pretty much to the end there.
That's Modern Horizons.
We're almost at 3 hours talking about one fucking set. But,
yeah, we should probably wrap it up then. So
yeah.
Overall, not a bad set. It's not as much of a boogeyman as the next one, and even some standard sets.
Honestly, I kind of look back on this set pretty fondly. I really enjoyed Modern Horizons. Like it had a lot of things wrong with it, but like, you know, especially getting past the Hogak phase, there were quite a few fun decks you could build with the cards from it. So,
well, you got like,
I feel like
Hogak, Urza, Astrolabe. I think I'm missing something else. Are all kind of like.
I feel like this set helped facilitate decks more compared to Modern Horizons 2 help create decks more. So like new decks emerged out of Modern Horizons 1, but the new decks that emerged were more boosted or different twists or forms of decks that had already existed, whereas Modern Horizons 2 created new decks.
I can look at a card in Modern Horizons 1 and go, I know what this is for.
Yeah.
You have the snow archetype.
Yep.
That became that Urza makes sense. Yawgmoth makes sense.
Going to be a short one tonight, Lucas.
Yeah, I said that earlier.
How did you?
Fuck. Most of the cards that are like Season Pyromancer, Captain Ranger Vios.
Yep.
They all make sense. And when it comes to like Modern Horizons 2, there were some of those cards like Persist and Unmarked Grave. Like, okay, you're obviously trying to make an archetype here.
But at the end of the day, the cards that actually did something were the degenerate cycle, which the degenerate cycle were played. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't take up as much of the limelight at the end of by the end all be all. Regamon.
It was a big difference too that the cycle from Modern Horizons 1 was spells, and then now it's creatures, where creatures are not only like they not only had shit printed on them, but they're just a body in of themselves, and half of them are like good bodies too. You got like a 3/3 double striker and a 3/2 with menace. Each of them has a fucking keyword attached to it too,
if not more.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Maybe that would have been better if they would have printed them as 1/1s with no keyword, but kept the ability.
Yeah, I don't want to go down the tuning the Modern Horizons 2 cards right now, but overall, the set's a lot of cool designs in it. I'm very impressed with the design team on this set. Yes, they fucked the R&D team, missed some shit, and like Hogak is like, what are you doing? Urza is dangerous, and then Arkham's Astrolabe is one that I'm like, okay, that's a fair one to have let slipped. I really think so. But that with Urza is a little questionable.
Real quick, so favorite card from the set, dumbest card from the set, and I guess what was your favorite deck to play with cards?
Quickly, half the reason, like I said earlier, I love jamming that card in Canadian Highlander. I think fondly of the Urza decks in Modern, even though they're pretty much broken, and everything I said earlier, the design of it, the callbacks to different cards and how it all fit together, and then just bringing back that character was cool. How about you?
Favorite card, I have to give it to Giver Ruins, probably.
Okay.
I really love the Death and Taxes format, and seeing like having a stepmom in the format now was awesome. I like when Death and Taxes was good in Modern post this set. It really felt like that card made a big difference, and it was very pivotal and really well designed. So,
you said like least favorite card, or
like what the fuck is this doing in this set?
A lot of the reprint cards were like
one card specifically. What do you got to go to? I know what it is for me.
The why is this in the set?
Yeah, like what the fuck is this card?
Say yours.
Collected Conjuring.
Oh fucking god! Yeah, okay. That or the red card. Yeah. We did. I mean, we did a whole section on that fucking card. But Collected Conjuring, everybody went, really? You couldn't give us a little more?
Yeah.
Give me another category.
And then favorite deck to emerge as a result of this set, like favorite deck that you played with the cards from this set.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't play the Urza deck. I never played Hogak, and I'm probably not gonna play. I played Yawgmoth one time. I'd say an Urza deck though, because yeah.
Mine is probably.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. Even though I don't think I really ever played it, like the Esper Death Shadow or the
Mardu Death Shadow. Yeah.
Yeah,
true. Yep, that's a good one. I maybe have to give it to that now that I'm thinking about that, or I did play a lot of it, but the Helion Company deck too. I thought that deck was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So, Spike Feeder, all that shit. So.
Yeah. Got anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. There's another one for the books.
Yep. Modern Horizons 1.
Well, we'll see next week. It will be kind of a downward spiral of kind of banning and getting things out of the format throughout the year. But as the set goes, it's a decent one. It was a good first swing at it.
Yeah.
we'll have another conversation when it comes to Modern Horizon 2 though.
Oh yeah.
And by hold on one second before we end it, I want to see when Modern Horizon 3 drops. Keep it going, Andrew. No dead air.
Oh, I'm going to keep it going. Well, who knows? Maybe at this point, Q2.
So the end of
Q2
Okay.
2024.
So we won't be stretching this podcast till then. We'll probably come back when previews are hitting or something.
Oh, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
See what I would like to maybe touch it on set release too. See what
Sure.
I play limited and maybe play some of the format by that point.
We could kind of like when a new set comes out, we could we touch back and go, okay, what were the hits and what was the hit and misses from the last set, and then what do we predict?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a nice night, everyone.
Goodbye.